Tonight, we're exploring every secret within the complete history of Hogwarts. This is a fascinating topic, but I'll keep my narration calm to ensure you can still drift off to sleep. Thank you to those of you who've been joining us consistently. If you're falling asleep with us tonight, let me know in the comments how many nights in a row you've been here. And if this is your first night, just comment night 1. Now back to the video. Imagine a castle that breathes, a fortress of stone and ancient magic that has stood for over 1,000 years against the rolling mists of the Scottish Highlands. To the outside world, it is nothing more than a crumbling ruin, a dangerous pile of rocks marked with signs warning passers-by of structural collapse. But to those with a gift of sight, it is the most important landmark in the history of the wizarding world. Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry is more than just a school. It is a living record of every triumph, every tragedy, and every dark secret that has shaped magical society since the 10th century. We often think we know its halls because we have walked them through the eyes of a boy with a lightning-shaped scar. But the stones of Hogwarts remember much more than the 7 years of Harry Potter. They remember the echoes of 4 legendary founders who built a sanctuary out of necessity and fear. They remember the cold, calculated footsteps of a young Tom Riddle as he uncovered a legacy of blood that would nearly tear the world apart. And they remember the silent, tragic sacrifices of those whose names have been lost to time, but whose magic still hums in the very air of the Great Hall. The stakes of this history are higher than mere academic curiosity. To understand Hogwarts is to understand the soul of the wizarding community itself. The castle was born from a period of intense persecution, a time when magic was something to be whispered about in the shadows, for fear of the stake and the pyre. It was designed to be the ultimate safe haven, a place where the next generation could be nurtured away from the prying, fearful eyes of the non-magical world. Yet the very walls meant to protect the students became the site of the most devastating conflicts in history. From the internal schism that saw Salazar Slytherin walk away from his closest friends to the catastrophic Battle of Hogwarts in 1998, the school has been the focal point for the eternal struggle between light and shadow. Why did a place built for education become a fortress for war? How did a school intended for unity become defined by its houses and its divisions? There is a profound mystery woven into the architecture of the castle. Why does the room of requirement only appear to those in desperate need? And what other sentient rooms lie dormant in the deeper levels? What truly happened in the years following the departure of the founders as the school transitioned from a private experiment into a global institution? We're going to look beyond the surface of the moving staircases and the enchanted ceiling. We're going to peel back the layers of 1,000 years of magical evolution, right from the signing of the Statute of Secrecy to the rise of the dark wizards who sought to claim the castle as their own throne. We will uncover the origins of the ghosts that haunt the corridors, the truth behind the Chamber of Secrets, and the long winding road that led from the founding in 900 Common Era to the final, silent moment when the Elder Wand changed masters. This is a journey through time, through magic, and through the very heart of the wizarding world's most sacred ground. Around 900 CE, in the shadowed heart of medieval Europe, witches and wizards faced extermination from the very muggle communities they once shared bread with. Whispers of sorcery turned to screams of betrayal overnight. A healer mending a farmer's broken leg with a flick of her wand became the village witch. Dragged to the stake as flames licked her robes, children with accidental magic, sparks from fingertips or broomsticks lifting off haystacks, were hunted like beasts, their families scattering into fog-shrouded forests. Persecution swelled like a storm across England, France and beyond, with muggle lords rallying mobs, armed with pitchforks and torches. Wizards bartered their wands for silence, but trust eroded into terror. No castle wall could shield them forever. No glamour charm fooled the inquisitive forever. They craved a refuge, a hidden cradle, where young magic could bloom without fear of the pyre. From this rising tide of Muggle persecution emerged a desperate need for a magical refuge, a sanctuary etched into secrecy. Word spread through enchanted ravens and Patronus messengers. 4 of the era's greatest witches and wizards had to unite. Godric Gryffindor, the lion-hearted warrior from the wild moors of England, whose sword cleaved through dark creatures and whose courage rallied the fearful. Helga Hufflepuff, the warm-hearted enchantress of the Welsh valleys, who brewed potions that mended bodies and spirits alike, welcoming all who sought her hearth. Rowena Ravenclaw, the raven-haired scholar from the misty Scottish glens, whose mind wove spells of intellect that unravelled the universe's deepest riddles. And Salazar Slytherin, the serpentine strategist from the fens of England, whose cunning navigated courts and whose ambition forged paths through impossibility. Their paths converged one autumn eve in a forgotten grove near the Humber River, set under a canopy of oaks, whispering ancient secrets. Gryffindor arrived first, his scarlet cloak billowing, recounting a recent skirmish where Muggle knights had stormed a wizarding hamlet, leaving only ashes. Hufflepuff followed, her arms laden with healing salves stained by the blood of the innocent, tears carving tracks through the flower dust on her cheeks. Ravenclaw glided in on a conjured gale, scrolls unfurling to map the perils ahead, her eyes sharp as a falcon's. Slytherin slithered from the shadows last, his green robes blending with the moss, voice smooth as serpent scales, as he tallied the losses, not just lives, but the future of magic itself. They spoke through the night, fires crackling low to evade detection. Gryffindor pounded his fist, a school for the brave, to train defenders. Hufflepuff urged inclusivity. Every witch and wizard, pure or not, deserved loyalty's embrace. Ravenclaw sketched visions of towers piercing clouds, minds sharpened like blades. Slytherin countered with purity, preservation through strength alone. Yet unity held, fragile as spun glass. 4 legends had united, the meeting of Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin, vowing to birth a fortress of learning, invisible to Muggle eyes. But where? England teemed with spies, Wales with witch-finders, the lowlands too exposed. Their gazes turned north, to the jagged spine of Scotland's highlands. Those ancient mountains cradled secrets older than Merlin's beard, ley lines pulsing with raw magic, drawn from the earth's fiery core. Peaks like Ben Nevis warded off intruders with eternal storms. Lochs mirrored glamours into infinity. Ys and heather cloaked valleys in perpetual mist. Here, giants once roamed, their bones infusing soil with power. Standing stones hummed forgotten runes. The air thrummed with potential, winds carrying echoes of druid chants. Remote enough to vanish from maps, defensible with natural ramparts of crag and glen, the highlands whispered, "Welcome to wanderers of the arcane." Gryffindor scouted the terrain, his griffin Patronus soaring over corries. Hufflepuff sensed the land's generous spirit, herbs bursting underfoot in defiant bloom. Ravenclaw divined auspicious stars aligning above a cliffside hollow, where a lake's glassy surface promised concealment. Slytherin approved the serpentine paths, labyrinthine and lethal to foes. This would be the cradle of magic, a sanctuary sculpted from stone and spell, safe from the Muggle tide crashing below. As shovels met enchanted earth and wands raised the first turrets, tensions simmered. Slytherin, ever wary of Muggle-tainted blood, delved deep beneath the foundations, carving the Chamber of Secrets, a hidden lair stocked with a basilisk egg, his insurance against dilution. Rowena crafted a hat from her own battered brimstone, charmed by all 4 to sort the worthy, its stitches groaning with their merged wisdom. Tragedies shadowed the dawn too. Rowena's daughter Helena, fleeing a forbidden love with the bloody Baron, Slytherin's housewarden, met a jealous end in Albania's woods, her spirit haunting the castle as the Grey Lady. the Baron slashing his own throat in remorse. Yet the sanctuary rose, gleaming under veils of invisibility. Young witches levitated stones the size of cottages. Apprentices transfigured granite to marble veined with silver. By decade's end, Hogwarts breathed, its great hall echoing first-year cheers, greenhouses blooming under Hufflepuff's touch, library shelves groaning under Ravenclaw's tomes. Muggle fires raged afar, but here magic flowered unchecked. Generations later, those walls still stand sentinel, guarding legacies born of peril. You've journeyed with me through the 10th century forging of this haven, but the true wonder lies in how mere mountains yielded to architecture of the impossible. Towers that shift, rooms that roam, secrets stacked in defiance of gravity. What feats of wizardry bent reality itself? Drift into that next, as we unveil architecture of the impossible. With the 4 greatest witches and wizards of the age now united, Godric Gryffindor, Helga Hufflepuff, Rowena Ravenclaw, Ian Salazar Slytherin, they turned their vision into stone and spell, raising a fortress that would stand for 1,000 years against the storms of persecution. Hogwarts Castle emerged from the rugged Scottish Highlands around 900 CE, not hammered from quarried rock by Muggle hands, but woven from the raw magic of its founders, layer by impossible layer. Imagine the air humming with incantations as massive turrets spiraled upward, their battlements etched with runes that glowed faintly under moonlight. The Great Hall took shape first, its enchanted ceiling mirroring the sky above, stars wheeling in eternal vigil. Towers twisted like ancient oaks, windows framing views that shifted with the seasons, and vast dungeons burrowed deep into the earth, echoing with the drip of unseen waters. But it was the very bones of the castle that tested the limits of wizardkind. The construction demanded spells of transfiguration so profound they bent time itself, granite walls that grew overnight, bridges that arched across chasms without a single support beam. Gryffindor lent his bold wand to the ramparts, fortifying them against siege. Hufflepuff infused the kitchens and common rooms with warmth, her magic ensuring hearths that never went cold. Slytherin carved serpentine passages below, hidden and labyrinthine, yet the true sorcery pulsed in the heart of it all, the moving staircases. These weren't mere contraptions of wood and iron. They were alive, enchanted to shift and pivot at whim, defying gravity's pull. One moment, a flight might climb steadily to the astronomy tower. The next, it would swing away, depositing the unwary into a tapestry or a suit of armour. The founders bound them with a collective charm, drawing on the castle's own magic reserves, so that footsteps triggered whispers of motion, creaks and groans like the breath of a sleeping giant. Students to this day learn to listen for the rhythm, lest they tumble into voids that weren't there before. Rowena Ravenclaw's architectural genius shone brightest in this dream logic of the floor plan, a blueprint that mocked the rigid lines of Muggle design. She envisioned not a static edifice, but a living puzzle, rooms that expanded or contracted based on need, corridors that rearranged under the influence of lunar phases or the school's moods. Her sketches, preserved in faded parchment within the Ravenclaw common room, reveal corridors branching into infinity, doors that led to the same chamber from a dozen angles and hidden alcoves birthing new wings during full moons. It was logic born of dreams, illogical to the waking mind, yet perfectly intuitive to those attuned to magic's whims. Ravenclaw layered in charms of misdirection, ensuring the castle adapted to its inhabitants. A library that grew shelves as knowledge poured in, greenhouses where vines climbed to touch the stars. Her genius lay in the fluidity, the way the floor plan folded space like origami, compressing miles of halls into a single hilltop. Wizards marveled at how one could walk from the owlery to the lake's edge in heartbeats. the path unfolding as if the castle anticipated your step. This dream logic wasn't whimsy alone, it concealed a fortress within a fortress. To hide such a behemoth from Muggle eyes, the founders wove ancient spells of concealment, the most potent being those that transfigure the castle into a tumbled ruin. Approach from the wrong angle, without the blood of a wizard or the key phrases whispered at the gates, and Hogwarts appears as shattered battlements, overgrown with ivy, a forgotten abbey crumbling into the mist-shrouded loch. These glamours, drawn from old Celtic wards and amplified by Slytherin's subtle cunning, bend light and perception. Fog rolls unnaturally thick, stones shift to mimic decay, and eerie winds carry the howl of non-existent wolves. Muggle fishermen speak of ghost lights on the water, but never the truth. A 1,000-room stronghold, pulsing with life, just beyond their sight. The spells renew themselves, feeding on the castle's magic, growing stronger with every century. Even House-Elves patrol the borders, their poppings like distant thunder, mending any fray in the Vale. Deeper still, these enchantments intertwined with the land itself. The Black Lake cradled the castle's foundations, its depths hiding merpeople who served as sentinels, their tridents glinting warnings to intruders. Beneath the forbidden forest, roots of ancient trees anchored the dungeons, whispering secrets to Slytherin's heirs. Ravenclaw's towers pierced the clouds, drawing storms that masked Quidditch pitches from prying eyes. The castle breathed, expanded, contracted, an organism of stone and spell forever evolving. Gryffindor's sword hung in the Headmaster's office, a reminder of the valour that built it, while Hufflepuff's cup gleamed in vaults below, symbol of the loyalty that sustained it. Conflict simmered even then. Slytherin's departure loomed, his chamber of secrets already taking shape in secrecy, but the architecture endured, a testament to unity forged in fire. Wander its halls in your mind's eye, feel the chill of flagstones underfoot, the flicker of torchlight casting shadows that dance like ghosts. Portraits murmur advice from centuries past, suits of armour clank in salute. The moving staircases challenge you still, leading to forgotten towers, where dust motes swirl in sunbeams, revealing lost artifacts. Ravenclaw's genius ensures no two visits are the same. The floor plan reshuffles like a deck of cards, birthing new mysteries. And those Muggle-veiling spells, they fooled armies, kings, even satellites in later ages, preserving the impossible. As the castle took its final form, solid yet ever-shifting, had the founders faced their next great challenge: how to divide the students destined for its halls, to sort bravery from cunning, loyalty from wit. That brings us to Chapter 3, the Sorting Hat's first song, a spellbinding origin that decided the fate of every witch and wizard who walked these enchanted stairs. What secrets does that tattered relic hold from its very first verses? Stay with me as we uncover it, with Rowena Ravenclaw's labyrinthine staircases now twisting through the newborn castle like veins pulsing with magic. The four founders faced their next impossible task. The stones hummed with fresh enchantments, the great hall's enchanted ceiling already flickering with starlit promises, but empty benches stretched out in silent expectation. Who would fill them? How could they possibly sift through the raw potential of young witches and wizards, each carrying sparks of bravery, loyalty, cunning or wisdom, and assign them to paths that honoured their deepest selves? The dilemma gnawed at them from the start. Picture the founders gathered in a chamber high in the North Tower, firelight dancing on ancient tapestries they'd woven from dragon silk and phoenix feather threads. Godric Gryffindor paced like a lion in his den, his ruby-encrusted sword propped against the wall, gleaming with the promise of battles yet unfought. Helga Hufflepuff stirred a cauldron of mulled mead, her warm eyes scanning the faces around her, ever the heart-seeking unity. Rowena Ravenclaw traced runes on a scrap of vellum, her quill scratching hypotheses faster than thought itself. And Salazar Slytherin lounged in the shadows, his serpentine gaze sharp as a basilisk's fang, weighing every word like gold. They had built this sanctuary for all magical children, fleeing Muggle torches and pitchforks, but unity demanded division. Godric argued for trials of courage, swordplay in the courtyard, riddles laced with danger, feats that would reveal the fire in a child's soul. Helga countered softly, envisioning kitchens alive with shared labour, where patience and fairness bloomed like her ever-full herb gardens. Rowena proposed Intellect's Forge, puzzles that unfolded like the castle's own staircases, logic traps mirroring the dream logic of her floor plan. Slytherin smiled thinly, suggesting subtler arts, legilimency probes, potion brewing under duress, sifting for ambition that could bend the world to wizardkind's will. But each method favoured one founder's bias, risked wounding fragile young minds, or sparked endless debate. What if bravery masked cunning? Loyalty hid ruthless drive. They needed a sorter impartial, as fate itself, wise beyond any single witch or wizard. Godric Gryffindor broke the stalemate one stormy dawn, as thunder rattled the castle's battlements. He strode into the chamber, clutching his battered old hat, a wide-brimmed wanderer's cap, stained with the dust of 100 quests, its leather softened by years riding his shoulders into goblin wars and giant skirmishes. This, he declared, would be their vessel, not mere cloth, but a relic of his own unyielding spirit, now to be infused with the essence of all four. They circled it that day, chanting in ancient tongues lost to time, Gaelic runes from Gryffindor's wild moors, Hufflepuff's earthy Saxon hymns, Ravenclaw's Vedic star chants, Slytherin's serpentine Parseltongue whispers. Magic poured in like liquid silver. Gryffindor's daring leapt first, a roar of ruby flame that made the hat twitch. Helga's loyalty followed, warm as hearth glow, binding the fibres with threads of unbreakable trust. Rowena wove Intellect's silver lattice, sharp and intricate, granting perception that pierced hearts. Slytherin sealed it with cunning's emerald venom, sly and deep, ensuring no trait escaped judgment. When the enchantment settled, the hat stirred. Its brim curled like waking lips, and in a voice gravelly, with 4 souls entwined, it spoke, not as servant, but sage. This was the Sorting Hat, born not of wood or stone, but of founders' fused genius, alive with their collective intelligence. It knew their histories. Gryffindor's charge against the Hungarian Horntail, Helga's quiet healing of plague-ravaged villages, Rowena's midnight vigils charting comet paths to predict eclipses, Slytherin's shadow dealings with ancient merfolk for forbidden lore. No child could fool it. It delved desires, fears, potentials, sorting not by flaw, but by fit. Thus dawned the house system, a delicate balance etched into Hogwarts' very soul. Gryffindor Tower blazed with scarlet banners, its common room a roaring hearth where bravery's roar echoed off lion-carved walls. Hufflepuff's earthy burrows near the kitchens overflowed with golden warmth, badger motifs guarding vaults of shared plenty. Ravenclaw's airy west turret spiralled under eagle wings, lined with star charts and whispering tomes that unfurled secrets to the clever. Slytherin's dungeon Lakeview lair shimmered green, serpent coils framing ambition's cool reflections. The first students arrived that crisp autumn, wide-eyed orphans of muggle hunts, prodigies from hidden wizard clans, filing into the great hall beneath a ceiling swirling with harvest storms. The Sorting Hat's first song sealed their fates, its verses rumbling like prophecy from the stool at the hall's head. In rhymes woven from 4 voices, it sang of the founders' glories and the houses they birthed. Gryffindor's sword, call to the fearless, Hufflepuff's toil embrace for the true, Ravenclaw's mind flight for the wise, Slytherin's subtle stream for the shrewd. In times of old, when I was a lad, it began, brim flapping like sails in gale, drawing gasps from the crowd as it detailed their unity. Their traits not rivals but complements. One by one, it called names, Eldric the Bold into Gryffindor with a leap of flame, young Mira Fairhand to Hufflepuff amid cheers of butterbeer foam. Harmony reigned those early years. Feasts bridged house tables, Quidditch prototypes flew under mixed banners, spells shared in cross-house duels that sparked innovation. Gryffindor's daring tempered Slytherin's schemes, Ravenclaw's wit honed Hufflepuff's heart, and the castle thrummed with a symphony of ideologies in perfect fragile accord. Yet beneath that initial glow, fault lines simmered, whispers of purity in shadowed corners, clashes over who truly deserved these walls. The Sorting Hat watched it all, its stitches straining with unspoken warnings. And as alliances frayed toward the Great Schism, everything you thought you knew about betrayal among friends will shatter in Chapter 4. As the Sorting Hat brimmed with the stitched souls of all four founders, its verses echoing through the newborn halls of Hogwarts, the school finally opened its doors to the first waves of young witches and wizards. You can almost hear the rustle of robes in those grand corridors, the flicker of torchlight on stone walls still fresh from enchantment, as children stepped forward, one by one, their futures decided by a brimmed whisper. Godric Gryffindor beamed with pride at the bold hearts it claimed for his house. Helga Hufflepuff welcomed the loyal and kind into her warm embrace. Rowena Ravenclaw nodded at the sharp minds destined for her tower. But Salazar Slytherin watched with a growing shadow in his eyes, his satisfaction laced with something sharper, more unyielding. Slytherin had always carried a different fire within him, hate forged in the ancient marshes of the Fens, where his family had guarded pure magical bloodlines for generations. He saw magic not just as a gift, but as a sacred inheritance, diluted by the careless mixing with Muggle-born witches and wizards whose powers, he believed, sprang from accidental sparks rather than noble lineage. At first, his views simmered quietly amid the founders' unity, masked by the thrill of building this sanctuary. But as the Sorting Hat placed its first Muggle-born students, children of non-magical families who somehow carried the gift, into houses across the school, Slytherin's unease hardened into conviction. He began to voice it in the founders' private chambers, late into the nights when the castle's magic hummed softly around them. Why, he demanded, who should Hogwarts teach those whose blood was tainted by Muggle ignorance? They bring risks, he argued, their families too close to the persecutions outside, too likely to betray secrets in moments of fear or weakness. Pure blood exclusivity, he insisted, was the only path to preserve wizard-kind supremacy, to ensure the school's legacy remained uncompromised. Helga Hufflepuff countered with gentle pleas for inclusivity, reminding him of the hard-working souls among all births. Rowena Ravenclaw appealed to logic, pointing out that talent flowed unpredictably, ignoring bloodlines. But it was Godric Gryffindor whose opposition burned hottest, his chivalrous heart seeing valor in every young witch or wizard, brave enough to seek these hidden walls, no matter their origin. The debate stretched on, voices rising like storms over the Black Lake, until tolerance frayed into fracture. Slytherin withdrew more into the damp dungeons he favoured, carving out spaces where his followers, those who shared his vision of blood purity, gathered in secretive whispers. Whispers that grew into murmurs of rebellion, of a Hogwarts remade in his image, admitting only those proven by ancestry. The other founders felt the chill of division seeping through the castle's warmth. The once united council now splintered by ideology. Then came the breaking point, a confrontation so raw it scarred the very stones of Hogwarts. In the heart of the Great Hall, under the enchanted ceiling swirling with a turbulent night sky, Godric Gryffindor faced Salazar Slytherin head-on. Words failed them now. Wands were drawn in a duel that shook the foundations. Sparks flew like lightning, Gryffindor's sword gleaming as he parried Slytherin's serpentine curses. The air thick with the ozone of powerful spells clashing. Tables splintered, banners tore, and students huddled in terror as the two titans unleashed their fury. Gryffindor's bravery met Slytherin's cunning in a whirlwind of light and shadow, each strike echoing the irreconcilable paths they envisioned for the school. When the dust settled, no victor stood unchallenged, only exhaustion and irreversible rifts. Slytherin, bloodied but unbowed, gathered his most loyal supporters that very night and stormed from the castle, his departure a thunderclap in the young school's history. He vanished into the mists, vowing never to return until Hogwarts purged what he saw as its weakness. Yet he left behind more than absence. In the depths of the dungeons, a lingering shadow took root, hidden passages veined with his malice, a promise of return that chilled the air even on the sunniest days. The castle felt emptier without him, its magic subtly altered, as if the stones themselves mourned the loss while guarding against his ghost. The three remaining founders pressed on, rebuilding unity from the ashes. But the Great Schism had redefined Hogwarts forever. Houses now carried the weight of that divide. Slytherin's emblem slithering on dungeon walls, a constant reminder of purity's perilous edge. Whispers persisted among students of his ideals, pockets of prejudice blooming in quiet corners, ensuring his influence endured long after his footsteps faded. Generations later, that shadow would stir again, drawing ambitious souls into its coil. But for now, the school healed under Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, and Ravenclaw's steadfast guidance. Yet deep below, where torchlight barely reaches, Slytherin's final gift waited in secrecy, a chamber born of vengeance and vision. Up next, Chapter 5, The Chamber of Secrets, where we'll uncover the monstrous truth Slytherin hid beneath the dungeons and how it nearly destroyed everything the founders built. As the echoes of that brutal duel between Godric Gryffindor and Salazar, Slytherin, faded through the castle's stone corridors, Slytherin vanished from Hogwarts, his footsteps swallowed by the night. But he left behind more than bitterness. Deep in the earth's unyielding grip, beneath the very foundations he once helped lay, Slytherin toiled in secrecy, carving out a lair no one would ever suspect. Picture the castle above bustling with the first students, their laughter mingling with the creak of moving staircases, while far below, Slytherin worked alone. He began with whispers of magic, spells drawn from ancient grimoires he'd smuggled from his family's serpentine vaults. Using transfiguration charms of unparalleled subtlety, he reshaped the bedrock itself, layer by layer, without a single tremor reaching the surface. Earth yielded to his will like soft clay, parting silently under incantations that bent stone into corridors and chambers, vast enough to echo with forgotten hisses. He wove illusions into the castle's wards, masking his excavations with false floors and phantom echoes that mimic the natural groans of Hogwarts' enchanted architecture. No owl bore messages of alarm, no house-elf stumbled upon his work. For months, perhaps years, he laboured undetected, his green robe stained with subterranean dust, the air thick with the scent of damp rock and smouldering wand embers. The entrance he concealed within a girl's bathroom, of all places, a serpentine sink that only yielded to the parcel-tongue hiss of open. From there a chute plunged into darkness, slick with moisture, leading to halls lined with colossal statues, his own likeness rendered in cold marble, eyes gleaming with perpetual malice. Slytherin etched runes into the walls, binding the chamber to bloodlines pure as his own, ensuring only a worthy heir could breach its depths. The air down there hung heavy, laced with the metallic tang of magic long dormant, and the faint, acrid whiff of something alive and monstrous stirring in the gloom. This hidden lair wasn't mere shelter. It cradled Slytherin's true legacy, a biological weapon conceived in the fever of his pure blood zeal. He bred the Basilisk, that colossal serpent whose gaze alone could petrify the unworthy, drawing from forbidden alchemy passed down through Slytherin generations. In cauldrons bubbling with toad's milk and chicken eggs transmuted under lunar phases, he nurtured the egg of legend, a hybrid horror born when a serpent coils around a fowl's unhatched spawn. The process took decades, Slytherin tending the clutch in the chamber's humid heart, whispering parcel-tongue lullabies as scales hardened and fangs lengthened. The creature grew immense, its body coiling through tunnels like living obsidian, yellow eyes slitted with venomous promise. He called it his great work, a living testament to blood purity, left slumbering for an heir who would awaken it to purge the school of Muggle-borns. Slytherin poured his soul into this creation, enchanting the Basilisk with spells that bound it to his will across death itself. It would heed only the tongue of his descendants, slithering forth at their command to enforce his vision. The serpent's breath carried a chill that seeped into bones, its scales rasping like distant thunder against stone. He fed it remnants of his darkest rituals, spiders fattened on cursed flies, rats swollen with illicit potions, watching it swell to fill the chamber's vastness. This wasn't destruction for its own sake. It was precision, a weapon to cleanse Hogwarts, leaving the castle intact for those of true lineage. Before sealing his masterpiece, Slytherin inscribed the walls with prophecy. Only his true heir would unravel the final wards, unleashing the serpent upon the impure. He poured molten silver into keyholes shaped like coiled adders, fusing them with blood oaths that hummed with latent power. The entrance ground shut behind him, camouflaged eternally, leaving behind a 1,000-year-old ticking time bomb. Generations would pass above, oblivious, while below, the basilisk dreamed in suspended hunger, its heart beating slow as centuries, waiting for the one who would speak its name. That heir came centuries later, in the shadow of world wars, but whispers of tragedy rippled even sooner through Hogwarts halls. Ghosts began to stir, their stories entwined with losses that mirrored Slytherin's rage. Up next, Chapter 6. The Grey Lady and the Baron, two spirits whose doomed love bled into the castle stones, revealing secrets that chilled even the boldest founders. As Slytherin's hidden chamber slumbered beneath the castle, awaiting its destined heir, another shadow fell over Hogwarts. Born not of serpents or stone, but of a daughter's desperate ambition and a suitor's unyielding obsession. Rowena Ravenclaw, the architect of impossible spires and shifting halls, faced her deepest wound in the betrayal of her own flesh and blood. Helena Ravenclaw, tall and pale, with eyes like polished jet, had always hungered for more than her mother's brilliance could bestow. Rowena had crafted the diadem of Ravenclaw, a silver crown lost to time in legend, enchanted to sharpen the wearer's intellect beyond mortal limits. A whisper of genius for those wise enough to seek it, but Helena craved its power outright, not as a gift but as her secret edge over the world. In the hush of a Ravenclaw tower night, with moonlight slicing through arched windows like a blade, she slipped the diadem from its concealed vault. Her fingers trembled not from fear, but from the electric thrill of forbidden knowledge humming against her skin. She fled Hogwarts under cover of starless skies, galloping eastward to the wilds of Albania, where ancient forests cloaked her trail and whispers of dark magic lingered in the mist-shrouded peaks. Word of the theft spread like frost across the castle's stones. Rowena, ever the strategist, concealed her anguish behind veils of composure that the loss gnawed at her. She confided in no one fully, yet the castle's newest residents sensed the fracture. The Bloody Baron, a Slytherin alumnus of towering frame and perpetual scowl, had long harboured a savage passion for Helena. His love was no gentle flame but a storm of possession, marked by the silver chains that forever dangled from his spectral form, a reminder of oaths broken and tempers unleashed. Clad in fine robes, stained with the ink of old grudges, he demanded her whereabouts from Rowena. When she refused, his rage boiled over, but it was Helena's flight that ignited his pursuit. The Baron tracked her relentlessly across continents, his horse's hooves pounding through Muggle villages and wizarding outposts, leaving a wake of terrified whispers. He arrived in Albania's dense woodlands, where Helena had hidden among forgotten clans of witches, who brewed potions from nightshade and owl feathers. She rebuffed him fiercely, clutching the diadem like a talisman, her voice echoing through the trees. "This crown is mine now, Baron. Leave me to my destiny." But his obsession blinded him. In a frenzy of jealousy and despair, he drew his wand and struck her down, her blood soaking the Albanian earth. the diadem tumbling into underbrush thick with Thorn's secrets. Grief crashed upon him like a curse. Staring at Helena's lifeless form, the weight of his crime shattered his soul. With trembling hands, he turned the blade on himself, his life ebbing away amid the rustle of leaves and the distant cry of ravens. Their spirits, bound by tragedy, could not pass on. Helena rose as the Grey Lady, ethereal and sorrowful, gliding through Ravenclaw Tower, with a gaze that pierced veils of pretense. The Baron, shackled in silver, haunted Slytherin dungeons, his moans a low rumble like thunder trapped in stone. Thus were born the house ghosts, eternal witnesses to Hogwarts' founding pains, Ravenclaw's mournful guide and Slytherin's brooding sentinel. You can still catch glimpses of them today, if you're quiet enough in the castle's draughts. The Grey Lady drifts past the starry dome of her house common room, her translucent robes whispering against blue silk hangings, offering cryptic counsel to those who press her gently. Wit beyond measure is man's greatest treasure, she murmurs, but her eyes betray the pain of what she stole. The Baron prowls the green-lit Slytherin depths, chains clinking softly, his bloodstains a permanent badge of remorse. Students scatter at his approach, yet he embodies the house's fierce loyalty twisted into regret. Rowena never recovered the diadem. She searched in vain, her health fading as the artifact vanished into Albania's unforgiving wilds. A lost relic pulsing with untapped wisdom. Generations passed, and the crown mouldered in some forgotten hollow, its silver tarnished, its enchantments dormant. But its disappearance sowed a seed of doom for the school it once graced. Centuries later, a cunning orphan would unearth it, twisting its brilliance into something profane, unleashing horrors that echoed Slytherin's own legacy. The diadem's shadow lingered, a quiet curse woven into Hogwarts stones. These twin ghosts, products of love turned lethal, remind us how the Founder's world was no idyllic haven. Passions ran as deep as the Black Lake, and betrayals cut sharper than any basilisk fang. Yet in their unrest, they guard the houses still, spectral threads binding past to present. As the Founder's era darkened into centuries of trial, whispers of plague, war, and wizarding strife began to echo through the halls. Up next in Chapter 7, the medieval Dark Ages, we'll uncover how Hogwarts endured sieges, sorcery's hidden plagues, and the near collapse that tested its enchantments like never before. You won't want to miss the forgotten battles that nearly erased the school from existence. Those house ghosts, the Grey Lady and the Bloody Baron, became eternal wanderers through Hogwarts halls, just as the medieval shadows lengthened over Europe. By the 11th century, the world outside the castle walls had descended into what Muggles called the Dark Ages, a time of endless wars, famines and plagues that tested the fragile sanctuary the Founders had built. Hogwarts, hidden high in the Scottish Highlands, stood as a beacon amid the chaos, its enchantments growing ever more vital to shield young witches and wizards from the gathering storm. Plague swept across the continent first, the Black Death arriving in 1347 like a scythe through flesh. Villages emptied, cities crumbled under piles of the dead, and Muggle fear turned feral. Wizards, too, felt the shadow. Some succumbed before their spells could shield them, but Hogwarts endured untouched. The castle's ancient wards, woven by Rowena Ravenclaw herself, those impossible barriers of mist and illusion, thickened instinctively, repelling not just Muggle eyes but the very miasma of disease. Students learned to brew protective potions from the start, elixirs of fire seed and phoenix ash that burned away contagion in the air. Professors patrolled the battlements with detection charms, humming like distant thunder, snuffing out any infected owl or stray wind. Deep in the dungeons, alchemists distilled essences from mandrakes that screamed plague away before it crossed the thresholds. No child within those walls fell ill. The Great Hall echoed with chants of preservation spells, their glow painting the enchanted ceiling in defiant stars while Europe wept below. Witch hunts followed, fiercer still. By the 14th and 15th centuries, Muggle inquisitors roamed with torches and accusations, burning thousands at the stake from Paris to Edinburgh. Women and men confessed under torture to pacts with devils, their screams fueling pyres that lit the night. Hogwarts teetered on the edge. Muggle hunters sniffed closer than ever. Drawn by whispers of lights in the Forbidden Hills, sightings of cloaked figures vanishing into thin air, the school's survival hinged on cunning evolution. Headmasters of that era, the first whose names grace the records, like the stern Edessa Sachsenberg in 1423, rallied the faculty to fortify the Fidelius charm across the entire castle. Binding its location to a succession of trusted souls, they dispatched decoy owls with false sightings, conjured phantom villagers to lure pursuers astray. Students practiced memory charms on any muggle who wandered too near the lake, leaving them with tales of fairy lights and nothing more. One infamous night in 1480, a mob from Hogsmeade marched on the gates, pitchforks raised. A single professor's tidal wave spell scattered them into the loch, their cries drowned by summoned fog. Hogwarts not only survived, it adapted, turning persecution into lessons etched into every stone. Those early headmasters marked a turning point, their reigns chronicled in faded ledgers now dust-covered in the headmaster's office. Edessa Sachsenberg, a Hufflepuff with unyielding loyalty, served 30 years, her portrait still murmuring strategies from the frame. Before her came Niamh Fitzgerald, a Ravenclaw innovator from the Plague Years, who first proposed the Book of Admittance. This enchanted tome, bound in dragonhide and inked with everlasting squid, appeared in the castle library around 1394, its pages filling automatically with the names of every magical child born to wizarding or muggle parents alike. No longer would scouts roam villages risking exposure. The book sensed latent magic at birth, recording names, blood status, even faint prophecies whispered at cradleside. It ensured no witch or wizard went untrained, pulling them inexorably to Hogwarts when the time came. Fitzgerald oversaw its enchantment, binding it with oaths that only a headmaster could read, its quill counterpart hidden away. Ever vigilant, ever writing, with survival secured, the curriculum transformed inside those walls, mirroring the perils without. In the Founder's Day, lessons centered on basic charms, levitating feathers, mending robes, brewing simple teas to soothe homesick hearts, gentle arts for a gentler age. But the Dark Ages demanded more. By the 14th century, under headmasters like the fierce Bryce Tregunter, classes shifted to advanced defensive arts. First years gripped not just wands but shields of woven spells, practicing protego against hurled dung bombs laced with stunning hexes. Dueling clubs sprang up in the Room of Requirement, echoing with stupefice and disarming charms that cracked suits of armor. Potions turned lethal, antidotes to truth serums used by inquisitors, poisons reversed into sleep draughts for escape. Transfiguration focused on evasion, becoming foxes to slip pursuers, birds to scout dangers. Astronomy mapped muggle persecutions from afar. Care of magical creatures tamed the strulls born of plague-ridden battlefields. Even herbology yielded devil's snare for binding mobs and venomous tentacula for perimeter defense. The Great Hall, once alive with laughter, now hosted mock trials where students role-played inquisitors, honing occlumency to guard their minds. Gryffindor's sword hung sharper in its case, drawn for drills that left scorch marks on the flagstones. This evolution forged generations of wizards, not just learned, but unbreakable, ready for the shadows that lingered long after the pyres cooled. You can almost hear the crackle of those defensive spells in the drafty corridors, smell the acrid tang of counter-curses lingering in the air. Headmasters pored over the Book of Admittance by candlelight, plotting intakes amid the turmoil, their decisions shaping the houses for centuries. Slytherin's legacy twisted further in secrecy, his chamber's whispers fueling pure blood defences taught in hidden alcoves. Yet the school thrived, its population swelling as wizarding families sought refuge. The lake's giant squid patrolling deeper to ward off Loch Ness intruders, mistaking Hogwarts for myth. As the 15th century waned, with the Renaissance stirring faintly beyond the wards. One enchantment in that book of admittance began to intrigue scholars anew. The quill of acceptance, its feather ever dipping in invisible ink. What secrets did it hold about choosing the worthy? And how did it know a child's heart before they ever crossed the threshold? That's the mystery we'll unravel next in Chapter 8. The Quill of Acceptance. As the fires of witch hunts faded, and Hogwarts' curriculum shifted from fragile charms to the unyielding arts of defence, the castle itself began to stir with a deeper vigilance. Deep within its oldest chambers, an enchantment took root, one born not from the founder's hands, but from the living magic woven into the stones by centuries of spells. This was the Quill of Acceptance, a slender feather of phoenix, plume, and dragon sinew, paired eternally with the Book of Admittance, their union the silent arbiter of who would walk these halls as a wizard. Picture the quill if you can, hovering in perpetual readiness above the book's vast, leather-bound pages, its tip glistening with an ink that never dries, drawn from the wellspring of Hogwarts' own essence. It doesn't scratch or dip at human command, no. This quill possesses a sentience all its own, a fragment of the castle's ancient soul, awakened around the time the founders first laid their stones. It watches, waits, feels the first trembles of magic rippling through the bloodlines of Britain. When a child is born with that spark, the raw, undeniable pulse of wizardry, the quill stirs. Without a whisper, without a guiding hand, it dips into the ether and etches the child's name into the book, recording not just letters, but the very moment of their magical awakening. That moment, you see, defines magical birth. It's not the accident of parentage alone, though blood often plays its part. No, the criteria run deeper, etched into the fabric of wizarding existence by this enchanted pair. A magical birth occurs at the instant a child first channels innate power, be it a burst of accidental magic in the cradle, a toy levitating from sheer will, or a later flare, like a toddler summoning rain from a clear sky. The quill senses it across the miles, from the bustling streets of London to the remotest Scottish glen. Every such child in Britain, Muggle-born or otherwise, finds their name inscribed automatically, their destiny bound to Hogwarts before they utter their first spell. The book swells with these entries, page after yellowed page, a living ledger that has grown thicker than a man's arm over 1,000 years. Its spells ensuring no name escapes, no potential wizard overlooked. Think of the quiet power in that tracking. From the 11th century onward, as Hogwarts expanded beyond the founder's intimate circle, this system ensured a steady flow of students, shielding the school from the whims of recruitment or the dangers of exposure. Ministry officials later consulted the book. Owl Post dispatched invitations precisely 11 years after each entry, but the quill and book operated independently, beyond even their reach. Wizards whispered of it as the castle's heartbeat, pulsing with every new magical soul. In times of plague or persecution, when families hid in shadows, the quill never faltered, its magic piercing veils of secrecy to claim its own. Yet for all its mercy, this enchantment carries a cruel edge, one that pierces the heart of wizarding lineage. Squibs, those rare children born to magical parents yet devoid of the gift, know this rejection intimately. The quill remains still for them, the book silent, as if the castle's ancient magic peers into their souls and finds no echo of power. Imagine the agony. Parents, proud witches and wizards, cradling a babe who levitates nothing, transfigures no toy to life. As years pass without the telltale sign, hope curdles into despair. The child grows, surrounded by wonders they cannot touch, their letters never arriving on that fateful birthday eve. Take the case of the Black family, or the Gaunts before them, lineages obsessed with purity, only to birth these anomalies. A squib's life unfolds in the fringes, confined to menial roles at the ministry, or banished to the Muggle world, forever outsiders in both. The castle rejects them not with malice, but with an impartial finality, its magic deeming them unworthy of its perils and promises. Heartbreak echoes through generations. Mothers weep over empty hearths, Fathers rage against diluted blood. Some squibs linger near Diagon Alley, peddling secrets or spying for galleons, but none cross Hogwarts' threshold. The Quill's silence is their loudest curse, a verdict from the stones themselves. This system, flawless in its vigilance, wove Hogwarts ever tighter into the web of British magic, ensuring the school's survival through dark ages and brighter dawns. But as mistrust between wizards and muggles festered into open hostility by the 17th century, such hidden mechanisms faced unprecedented strain. Whispers of exposure grew, forcing the wizarding world toward a drastic veil of secrecy. And that's where we turn next, in Chapter 9. The Statute of Secrecy of 1692, a pact that would redraw the boundaries of magic forever, leaving you wondering just how close Hogwarts came to vanishing from the world entirely, with every magical child now etched into the Book of Admittance. Their locations hidden from prying Muggle eyes, the wizards of Britain faced a storm unlike any before. By the 1690s, the air across Europe crackled with accusations, trials and pyres. Villages that once whispered of charms now screamed of witches. Families dragged from their hearths, pressed under stones until they confessed to spells they never cast. And the wizards among them, they could no longer stand apart. The breaking point came in 1692, not with a single thunderclap, but a relentless barrage that shattered the fragile coexistence. Picture the streets of Salem. Though the ripples spread far beyond, crowds baying for blood, judges in starched collars, condemning the innocent and the gifted alike. Muggle fervour had twisted into mass hysteria, fueled by centuries of fear. Wizards who once healed plagues or mended roofs in secret now found their wands turned against them. A healer in France, caught brewing a simple potion for fevered children, burned at the stake while her magic flickered uselessly under iron chains. In England, a farmer who transfigured blight from his crops was drowned in the village pond, his final breaths bubbling pleas no one understood. These weren't isolated tragedies. They were the crescendo of 800 years of simmering dread, from the Founder's era through the Black Death's shadows. Wizards had endured witch hunts before, vanishing into the mists or charming their way free. But now the scale tipped. Muggle weapons evolved, matchlocks and cannons alongside pitchforks. While their numbers swelled in towns bursting with suspicion, reports flooded in from across the continent. Covens scattered, grimoires seized and burned, ancient bloodlines snuffed out. The International Confederation of Wizards, that loose gathering of elders from every magical corner, convened in emergency session amid the chaos. Delegates from Bogsbatons, Durmstrang, even far-flung schools in Asia and the Americas, arrived cloaked in disillusionment charms, their faces gaunt. They debated through candlelit nights, in a warded chamber high in the Alps, the wind howling like vengeful spirits outside. The decision was unanimous, born of survival's cold logic. Vanish entirely, no more blending, no more mercy for the fearful. The Statute of Secrecy, signed that pivotal year, decreed absolute concealment. Wizards would retreat from Muggle society, their existence a forbidden whisper. Portkeys replaced public roads, flue networks burrowed underground, and every charm of concealment doubled in potency. Families, who once bartered at markets, now apparated to hidden hamlets. The world of magic folded inward, its lights dimming from Muggle view forever. At the heart of this withdrawal stood Hogwarts, transformed into the primary bunker for the preservation of magical culture. Those towering walls, already veiled by ancient enchantments, became an unbreachable fortress. No longer just a school, it was the last bastion where spells echoed freely, where portraits debated philosophy without fear of torches. The castle's depths expanded, secret passages labyrinthine enough to hide thousands. Great halls stocked with preserved feasts that multiplied by magic. Professors like those who survived the medieval Dark Ages drilled students not only in charms but in the arts of evasion. Fidelius charms woven into the very stones, wards that repelled armies. Gryffindor's sword hung sharper in readiness, Ravenclaw's diadem gleamed with forgotten protections. Here the quill continued its work unabated, summoning children from Muggle homes under cover of deepest night, owls slipping through storms unseen. Hogwarts preserved more than lives. It safeguarded the soul of wizardkind. Libraries swelled with tomes smuggled from raided manors, artifacts from fallen estates finding refuge in the Room of Requirement. House-Elves multiplied in the kitchens, their loyalty a silent shield. Ghosts patrolled the corridors, their ethereal forms warning of breaches. Even the Forbidden Forest thickened, its centaurs and creatures forming a living perimeter. In those years, as pyres smoked across the Channel, Hogwarts pulsed with defiant life. Beasts under enchanted ceilings mimicking starry skies free of smoke, Quidditch pitches alive with brooms slicing the wind. It was the Ark amid the flood, ensuring that when the hysteria ebbed, magic endured unbowed. From this veil of secrecy emerged the Ministry of Magic, formed in 1707 as Britain's wizards sought structure in their isolation. No longer could ragtag councils suffice. A centralised power arose in a concealed London warren, its atrium echoing with the pop of apparitions. Departments sprouted like fungi, magical law enforcement to police their own, mysteries for the arcane unknowns. Even an improper use of magic office to curb youthful wand-waving that risked exposure. Wizards traded top hats for lime green robes, filing decrees on enchanted parchment that sealed themselves with wax. Yet the ministry's birth carried thorns, especially in its complex relationship with school autonomy. Hogwarts, that ancient independent realm under headmasters, answerable only to its own legends, chafed under Whitehall's gaze. Early ministers proposed oversight, curriculum mandates, staff approvals, even Arrow garrisons during unrest. Headmaster Finnifius Nigellus Black, ever the Slytherin purist, thundered against it in staff meetings, his portrait later sneering at the very notion. The castle's founders had willed it free, its statutes carved in goblin silver, no external yoke. Tensions flared in leaked memos and heated Wizengamot sessions. The ministry funded expansions, yes, new greenhouses, Quidditch upgrades, but demand reports on every incident, from Peeves pranks to Basilisk rumours. Hogwarts yielded just enough. Annual inspections masked as courtesy visits, owls ferrying sanitised ledgers. Beneath it all simmered a delicate balance. The school bowed to no minister's whim, its headmaster holding veto on edicts touching education. Auras might patrol Hogsmeade, but the grounds remained sovereign. A pocket of pure magic amid bureaucratic sprawl, this dance defined the early statute years. Wizards thrived in shadow. Diagon Alley burrowing deeper underground, Gringotts vaults labyrinthine fortresses. Muggle world churned on, oblivious, their witch hunts fading into folklore, but strains lingered. Rogue wizards tested the veil, accidental magic flared in Muggle nurseries, and whispers of pure blood supremacy echoed ministry halls, testing the fragile peace. As the 18th century dawned, new forces stirred beyond the castle's wards. Smokestacks belching across Britain, iron horses thundering on rails. A revolution that would challenge wizarding seclusion like never before. That's where we'll pick up in Chapter 10. The Industrial Revolution and the Express, where steam meets magic in ways that will leave you breathless. As the ink dried on the International Statute of Secrecy in 1692, Hogwarts stood firm as the wizarding world's unbreachable fortress, 1,000 miles of enchanted stone, shielding young minds from a Muggle realm grown ever more suspicious. But isolation bred its own perils, especially when Britain's landscape began to transform under the relentless churn of the Industrial Revolution. By the early 1800s, factories scarred the countryside with towering chimneys, spewing coal-black smoke that blotted out the sun, while iron horses, those roaring steam locomotives, clawed across newly laid tracks, shrinking distances and swelling populations in ways wizards could scarcely ignore. The wizarding birth rate had climbed steadily since the statute's enforcement, with the quill of acceptance now inscribing thousands of names each year into its ancient book. Yet every autumn, the the school faced an impossible quandary. Burying the swelling tide of first years, transfers, and returning students from every shadowed corner of the British Isles to the remote Scottish Highlands, all without a whisper of magic piercing the Muggle veil. Picture the chaos before any elegant solution emerged. Young witches from the windswept moors of Cornwall, huddled in enchanted hay carts that rattled invisibly along country lanes, their drivers muttering disillusionment charms to blend with the fog. Families in the teeming slums of Manchester relied on flue powder networks jury-rigged through dingy pub fireplaces. But the powder's green flares risked drawing eyes in an age of gas lamps and prying constables. Older students braved broomstick flights under cover of night, dodging thunderclouds and the occasional hot air balloon enthusiast, their cloaks billowing like ghosts across the Pennines. Portkeys, old boots or doorknobs enchanted to whisk away at a tug, worked for the bold, but mishaps abounded. A 11-year-old from Devon once materialised in a Glasgow fish market, scales sticking to his robes before his frantic parents obliviated the lot. And for those in the remote Hebrides or Orkney Isles, the only recourse was leaky cauldrons masquerading as fishing boats, slicing through storm-lashed seas with sails rippling under imperious on the waves. Each method carried peril. Sightings by railway surveyors, exhaust from apparition splashes, spooking horses on crowded turnpikes, or worse, accidental magic flares from terrified children alerting witch hunters who still prowled the fringes of society. The ministry's improper use of magic office overflowed with reports, owls clogging the skies as headmasters pleaded for intervention. Hogwarts gates creaked open to stragglers weeks late, classes disrupted, and morale frayed, all while Muggle engineers hammered rails that crisscrossed the very paths wizards needed to tread unseen. This logistical nightmare peaked in 1829, when George Stephenson's rocket thundered to victory in the Rainhill trials, heralding an era where Muggle Britain stitched itself together with steel veins pulsing steam. Wizards watched from afar, apparating to hilltops to observe these mechanical marvels devouring miles in hours, their envy sharpening into resolve. Hogwarts could no longer limp on patchwork transports. A dedicated concealed lifeline was essential, one immune to weather, distance, or prying eyes. Enter the bold, bitterly debated stroke of genius: the theft of a Muggle steam engine to birth the Hogwarts Express. In the summer of 1830, under a moonless sky thick with London smog, a cadre of ministry unspeakables, led by the reclusive enchanter Euston Pembroke, slipped into the yards of the nascent Liverpool and Manchester Railway. They selected a gleaming prototype locomotive, its brass fittings still warm from trials, and with a symphony of vanishing spells and engorgement charms, spirited the entire beast away in sections, reassembling it in a warded barn on the outskirts of Edinburgh. Whispers persist that the Muggles blamed poltergeists or striking workers, their inquiries dissolving under a barrage of confundus clouds from obliviator squads. Pembroke's team toiled for months, transfiguring the engine's boiler to burn phoenix feathers. Instead of coal, its whistle tuned to a frequency that registered only as distant thunder to non-magical ears. The pistons hummed with perpetual motion enchantments, drawn from goblin-forged runes, ensuring the scarlet-painted behemoth never faltered on inclines or stalled in snowdrifts blanketing the Cheviot Hills. Controversy erupted immediately within wizarding circles. Purists decried the act as a violation of secrecy principles, arguing that pilfering Muggle ingenuity mocked the very isolation the statute demanded. Why not conjure a pure-blood engine from thin air? Progressive voices, including a young Albus Dumbledore's grandfather, countered that adaptation was survival, pointing to centuries of borrowed Muggle tools, like quills and cauldrons. The Wizengamot debated for a full moon cycle, fines were threatened, but practicality prevailed. The Express proved indispensable, its maiden voyage in 1831, carrying 200 students flawlessly from London to a misty Hogsmeade station without a single glitch. To anchor this miracle in the Muggle heartland, wizards carved out platform 9 3/4 at King's Cross, the Empire's throbbing rail nexus. Pembroke and his successors layered the barrier between platforms 9 and 10 with a cascading blood ward keyed to the magical aura of ticket holders. Children clutching their Hogwarts letters felt only a cool ripple as brick dissolved into steam-wreathed stone. Families dashed through at a run, trunks levitating behind, emerging onto a bustling concourse where the express loomed majestic, its engine exhaling candy-scented vapour that masked the acrid tang of true steam. This wasn't mere convenience. It forged a permanent enchanted link between London's sprawl and the Highlands' wild crags. Invisible rails, woven from mithril-laced iron and laid by house-elf labour under Fidelius charms, snaked north through viaducts that bent light itself. Tunnels burrowing beneath viaducts of Stevenson's mundane lines. The journey spanned 10 hours of velvet compartment luxury. Pumpkin pasties wheeled by house-elves, landscapes blurring from urban haze to highland heather, all while Repello Muggleton spells deflected any surveyor who wandered too near. Over decades, the Express evolved into Hogwarts' lifeblood, its schedule etched into every wizarding almanac. Prefects patrolled corridors, warded against dueling sparks, the trolley witch's enchanted cart gliding silently despite groaning floorboards. Tales abound of narrow escapes. A derailment averted by a student's accidental jelly legs jinx on a saboteur fox, or the engine's whistle scattering a herd of Highland cows enchanted by pranksters. Yet for all its triumphs, the theft lingered as a taboo, rarely uttered in polite society, a reminder that wizarding ingenuity sometimes danced perilously close to Muggle shadows. This ironclad lifeline steadied Hogwarts through the Victorian clamour, but whispers of a deeper magical awakening were already stirring in the shadows of those very factories. Up next in Chapter 11, the 19th century Renaissance, we'll uncover the explosive innovations that redefined wizarding power forever, secrets that would eclipse even the Express in audacity, with the Hogwarts Express now gliding silently through the night on those enchanted tracks. Hidden from Muggle eyes, the school entered its 19th century Renaissance, a time when Hogwarts didn't just endure the shadows of secrecy, but began to flourish in ways that reshaped its very soul. Students arriving by train stepped into a castle pulsing with renewed magic, where the air hummed with the scent of ancient ink and blooming nightshade from the grounds beyond. Picture the library first, that vast chamber you'd wander into after a long journey from King's Cross. By the 1800s, it had swollen beyond its medieval roots, annex after annex sprouting like enchanted vines from the castle's stone heart. Madame Pince's predecessors, fierce witch librarians with quills sharper than wands, oversaw the influx of forbidden tomes smuggled from fallen wizarding estates across Europe. Volumes on alchemy from Prague, grimoires of Transfiguration pilfered during the Napoleonic Wars, and delicate scrolls of runic prophecy unrolled across oak tables scarred by centuries of spellwork. The library's expansion wasn't mere growth. It was a deliberate act of defiance against the statute of secrecy. Wizards, cut off from Muggle society, poured their knowledge inward, stacking shelves that groaned under the weight of over 10,000 new texts by mid-century. You'd hear the soft rustle of pages turning late into the night, ghosts gliding between aisles to whisper corrections to sleepy scholars, the air thick with the musty perfume of vellum and potion-stained leather. This wasn't just a repository, it became the beating brain of Hogwarts, fueling curricula that delved deeper into obscure arts like wandless magic and the subtle threads of fate-weaving. And as the library reached skyward, so did the Forbidden Forest creep closer, its ecosystem blooming into a wild tapestry that tested every student's nerve. What began as a tangled border in the Founders' era had, by the 1820s, evolved into a self-sustaining realm of peril and wonder. Acromantula colonies spun vast webs in the deeper glades, their silk shimmering under moonlight like silver rivers. Unicorns grazed in hidden meadows, their hooves leaving trails of frost even in summer, while the strolls wheeled silently overhead, visible only to those who'd known loss. The forest's growth mirrored the wizarding world's isolation. Untamed, it swelled with creatures drawn by Hogwarts magic, bowtruckles guarding wandwoods, graffawns lumbering from Scottish highlands, and packs of mooncalves dancing under full moons, their eyes glowing like fallen stars. Centaurs, ever watchful, mapped constellations in the canopy, trading cryptic prophecies with professors bold enough to venture in. Hagrid's ancestors among the gamekeepers had encouraged this expansion, seeding rare plants like venomous tentacula and dirichor bushes that vanished when startled. Students learned caution here, prefects leading daring patrols, where the wind carried the low growl of werewolves on the prowl, and the snap of augury feathers foretelling rain. The forest wasn't contained. It breathed with the castle, its roots delving under the walls, whispering secrets through the stone floors at dawn. This era of abundance birthed spectacles that etched themselves into Hogwarts legend, none more thrilling or deadly than the Triwizard Tournament. Introduced in 1894, it started as a friendly rivalry among Europe's great schools. Hogwarts, Bogsbatons and Durmstrang, gathering every 5 years for trials of courage and cunning. Champions, selected by the ancient Goblet of Fire, faced challenges drawn from the wizarding wilds, taming dragons in the first task, navigating merpeople depths in the second, and unravelling a labyrinth alive with Sphinx riddles and blast-ended scroots in the third. The cheers echoed across the Black Lake as crowds watched from floating stands, butterbeer foaming in tankards, while House-Elves darted with glowing orbs to light the night. But glory came laced with blood. In its early decades, the tournament claimed lives with ruthless indifference. The inaugural event saw a Durmstrang champion devoured by a Hungarian horntail, as screams swallowed by the beast's roar before the crowd could gasp. Another year, a Bogsbaton's witch drowned in the lake's icy embrace, bubble-edged charm shattering against Grindylow claws. Hogwarts lost 2 of its own by 1900. Young Elias Hawthorne, crushed in the maze by an animated acromantula, and later Beatrice Lestrange, poisoned by a rogue plant in the third task. Death tolls mounted, 6 by 1920, prompting whispers of curses woven into the goblet's flames. Unspeakables from the Ministry investigated, sealing away dark artifacts suspected of sabotage, yet the tournament endured, its lethal edge honing wizards who survived. You'd feel the chill in the Great Hall as names spat from the goblet, the winners' faces pale with the weight of what awaited. The scent of scorched earth from dragonfire still clinging to their robes weeks later. From these trials and the school's swelling heart emerged alumni whose wands forged the modern ministry itself. Take Archibald Blackthorne, Gryffindor class of 1832, who rose from tournament survivor to Minister for Magic in 1871. He championed the Department of Magical Law Enforcement, codifying anti-dark arts decrees after thwarting a smuggling ring of basilisk eggs. Then there's Elowyn Voss, Ravenclaw 1847, whose library theses on international apparition networks birthed the Flu Regulation Act, linking wizarding homes in flames of green fire. Hufflepuff's own Rufus Quilliam, graduating 1869, transformed the Department of Magical Creatures, granting centaurs forest enclaves and regulating acromantula trade after a near disaster in the Forbidden Forest. Slytherin's legacy shone in Victoria Thorne, class of 1890, who was head of the International Magical Office, brokered the Triwizards' continuation post-tragedies, her sharp diplomacy averting a European wizarding schism. These graduates didn't just attend Hogwarts. They carried its renaissance outward, their policies echoing in ministry corridors today. The quill scratches of laws born from castle nights under starry ceilings. As the 19th century waned, whispers grew of a prodigious student whose brilliance would eclipse them all, setting the stage for triumphs and tempests yet to come. Join me next for Chapter 12, The Rise of Albus Dumbledore, where a young wizard's first sparks ignite a legacy that battles the darkest shadows. Before we dive deeper into this incredible journey, I'm curious, where in the world are you watching this from? Drop a comment below and let our global community know. And if you're finding this as mind-blowing as I am, hit that like button to help more people discover this story. As the 19th century's grand expansion settled into Hogwarts' ever-shifting stones, the library's shelves groaning under new tomes from distant lands, Forbidden Forest whispering with unchecked creatures, and the Triwizard Tournament's blood-soaked legacy fading into cautionary legend, a new era stirred in the castle's shadowed corridors. In 1881, far from those enchanted walls, Albus Percival Wulfric Brian Dumbledore entered the world in the quiet village of Godric's Hollow. Born to a family already touched by magic's double-edged grace, his father, Percival, a sturdy wizard of unyielding principle, had been sent to Azkaban years earlier for a grave mistake, attacking 3 Muggle boys who'd savagely tormented young Ariana, Albus's little sister, leaving her fragile and forever changed. Kendra, their mother, raised the children in secrecy, shielding Ariana's wild, uncontrolled magic from prying eyes. The air in their modest home hung heavy with unspoken grief, the scent of simmering potions mingling with the faint, electric tang of accidental bursts from Ariana's hidden room upstairs. Albus, the eldest, devoured books by candlelight, his auburn hair catching the flicker as he puzzled over runes and charms far beyond his years. 11 years later, in 1892, a brilliant student arrived at Hogwarts, owl delivered letter in hand, stepping onto platform 9 3/4 amid the steam and murmurs of the express, sorted into Gryffindor beneath the tattered sorting hat's brim, its ancient stitches whispering judgments from centuries past. Albus wasted no time claiming his place among the greats. From his very first potions class, where he brewed a flawless draught of peace that shimmered like captured moonlight, to the Transfiguration lectures, where he transfigured his quill into a perfect silver phoenix midnote, Dumbledore dominated. Professors exchanged glances in the staff room, murmuring about the red-haired prodigy who outpaced 7th years by his 3rd. He captained the Gobstones team to victory, debated ancient wand lore in the common room until dawn's light filtered through the tower windows, and even tamed a particularly unruly pixie in care of magical creatures with a flick of his wrist and a murmured incantation that left the class breathless. His academic dominance wasn't mere talent, it was a quiet revolution. In the library's alcoves, amid stacks of parchment yellowed by time, Albus uncovered forgotten spells from Godric Gryffindor's own hand, weaving them into essays that Headmaster Phineas Nigelus Black read aloud in assembly. Whispers followed him through the castle. The boy who could levitate an entire desk cluster without breaking a sweat, who solved the Sphinx's riddles in the Forbidden Forest for sport, his laughter echoing soft against the trees. Yet beneath that brilliance lay a restlessness, a hunger for knowledge that pulled him toward the stars and the secrets they guarded. Tragedy struck the Dumbledore family, like a curse unbound, reshaping Albus in ways the castle's stones could never fully erase. Kendra's death came suddenly in 1899, her body found still and cold after Ariana's magic erupted in a devastating flare. Windows shattered, furniture splintered, the house trembling as if the earth's magic rebelled. Albus, just graduated and brimming with plans for worldly adventures, returned home to Godric's Hollow, ordering the care of his sister alongside his brother Aberforth, whose gruff ways clashed with Albus's soaring ideals. The weight pressed down, the village's sympathetic glances turning to suspicion, the air thick with the scent of scorched floorboards and unspoken blame. In that summer of loss, temptation arrived at their door in the form of Gellert Grindelwald, a brilliant but shadowed youth exiled from Durmstrang, staying with distant kin nearby. The two locked eyes over garden fences, minds igniting like phoenix fire, visions of wizard supremacy, of hallows that could remake the world. spilling from their conversations late into the misty nights. Albus, intoxicated by Grindelwald's charisma, dreamed of power to end all suffering, even as Aberforth warned of the cost. A catastrophic clash followed, fists and fury in the garden, Ariana's intervention turning to horror as a stray curse, or 3, struck her down, her body crumpling amid the wildflowers. Who cast the final spell? The truth died with her, buried in the brothers' guilt, fracturing their bond forever. That tragedy forged Albus's philosophy, like dragonfire tempers steel. No longer would he chase dark grandeur. Power, he learned, corrupted unchecked, twisting even the purest hearts. He renounced Grindelwald's seductive vision, retreating from glory to wander the world. Studying alchemy in North Africa, dueling curses in the Amazon's depths, his beard lengthening as scars etched wisdom into his features. Magic's gifts demanded responsibility. He came to believe, a quiet creed whispered in Hogwarts halls years later. The strongest one served the humble hand. By the early 20th century, Dumbledore returned to Hogwarts not as student, but professor, appointed to teach Transfiguration under Headmaster Armando Dippet. He strode the classrooms with a twinkle in his half-moon spectacles, transforming teacups into turtles, and back, with effortless grace that left students gaping. His lessons breathed life into the subject, desks humming with transmuted energy, the air alive with feathers turning to flames. Whispers grew. This was no ordinary teacher. He advised on the Sorting Hat's quirks, mediated house rivalries with impartial wit, and delved into the castle's own mysteries, his phoenix forks perched on his shoulder like a living flame. From Transfiguration professor to the most powerful wizard in the world, his ascent unfolded amid gathering shadows. As Grindelwald's dark tide rose across Europe in the 1930s, cities crumbling under curses, muggles vanishing into night, Dumbledore's reputation swelled. He shattered records in duels, his wand a blur of light that bent reality itself. In 1945, atop a storm-lashed peak in Nurmengard, he faced his old friend in a legendary confrontation. Spells clashed like thunder, Elder Wand against unparalleled skill, the air crackling with raw power as Grindelwald's firestorms met Dumbledore's Protegos. Victory came not in triumph but sorrow. Grindelwald broken, spilling secrets of the Hallows before Azkaban claimed him. Dumbledore emerged, wand in hand, the wizarding world bending to his light. Hogwarts crowned him headmaster soon after, his office atop the highest tower, overlooking the lake's glassy expanse. Portraits murmuring counsel from the past. Forks trilled in the rafters. Lemon drops appeared mysteriously on his desk, and generations learned under his watchful eye. The boy who outshone stars now guiding them. Yet even as peace settled, darker whispers echoed from afar. You felt the pull of Dumbledore's. Rise through these shadowed years, haven't you? Drift deeper now as we turn to chapter 13. The shadow of Grindelwald, where old promises unravel and the world teeters on oblivion's edge. What buried pact nearly claimed the light himself? As Albus Dumbledore navigated the corridors of Hogwarts, his philosophy forged in the fires of family tragedy, a storm from his own past began to gather force across the wizarding world. Gellert Grindelwald, the brilliant visionary who had once shared summer nights, with young Albus plotting a new order, now wielded that shared dream as a weapon. Born the same year as Dumbledore, in 1881, Grindelwald had fled Europe after a youthful scandal, only to return years later with a message that seduced wizards from Paris to Prague. For the greater good, he proclaimed, wizards must cast off their chains, rule the Muggle world openly, and end centuries of hiding. It was a rallying cry that echoed through hidden taverns and enchanted wireless broadcasts, pulling at the hearts of those weary of secrecy. You can almost feel the chill seeping into the castle that autumn of the late 1930s, as Grindelwald's influence stretched its fingers toward Britain. His followers, the acolytes, spread propaganda like fiendfire whispers. Pamphlets slipped into Diagon Alley shops. Tales of Muggle atrocities whispered in pure-blood parlours. At Hogwarts, where young minds soaked up knowledge like parched earth, This global threat took root in unexpected ways. Students huddled in common rooms after curfew, debating the slogans in hushed tones. Gryffindors dismissed it as madness, but in Slytherin dungeons, a few murmured agreement, drawn to the promise of power without apology. Even Ravenclaws pored over smuggled texts, questioning if the statute of secrecy had shackled magic too long. Hufflepuffs, ever loyal, felt the pull through family letters from abroad, where relatives vanished into Grindelwald's ranks. The global threat of the greater good wasn't just news from afar. It wormed into the castle's very stones, tempting the next generation with visions of glory. Dumbledore, now Transfiguration Professor and a quiet authority in the staff room, watched it all with eyes sharpened by memory. He knew Grindelwald's charisma firsthand, the silver tongue that could twist ideals into iron rule. Grindelwald's armies swelled across Europe, toppling ministries, raising the deathly Hallow symbol high. Nurmengard Fortress rose as his emblem of unbreakable will, prisons for dissenters crammed with those who dared oppose. Yet for all his fury, he never turned his gaze fully on Hogwarts. Reports filtered back through Auror networks. Scouting parties spotted near Hogsmeade, dark marks flickering over the Forbidden Forest, but no assault came. Grindelwald himself decreed it untouchable, speaking in rallies of the school's ancient power, its wards woven by founders, whose magic still hummed in the castle's heart. He respected that legacy, saw Hogwarts not as enemy but cradle of future allies, a place to harvest talent rather than raise. In one infamous broadcast, his voice crackled over illegal sets. Hogwarts stands eternal, a testament to wizardkind supremacy. Why destroy what we must preserve? That restraint only deepened the unease within the castle walls. Tension thickened the air like castle fog rolling off the lake as the wizarding world inched toward war. Professors exchanged grim nods in the Great Hall, lessons laced with subtle warnings about blood purity and blind ambition. Peeves the Poltergeist took on a sharper edge, mimicking acolyte chants to rattle first years. The Whomping Willow thrashed wilder under full moons, as if sensing the unrest. Students walked the grounds in clusters, wands gripped tighter, eyes darting to shadowed arches where portraits whispered of old battles. Dumbledore patrolled the astronomy tower at dawn, scanning horizons for telltale broomsticks, his phoenix forks a rare comfort perched nearby. Letters from the ministry arrived by owl in sealed crimson envelopes, urging vigilance without panic. Quidditch matches paused mid-game once, when a scout's silhouette crossed, hearts pounding as beaters clutched bats like weapons. The lake's giant squid surfaced more often, tentacles rippling as if agitated by the castle's mood. Even House-Elves muttered in the kitchens about omens in the cauldrons, potions bubbling black without mandrake. Grindelwald's shadow lingered through those years, a pall over every feast. He ravaged Durmstrang, his old school, claiming it for his cause. But Hogwarts he spared, sending recruiters instead, charming envoys who vanished after tea with select prefects. Whispers spread of students approached in greenhouses, offered visions of a world remade. One seventh-year Slytherin, heir to an old line, packed a trunk overnight, gone by morning train, his absence a scar on the house table. Dumbledore confronted the headmaster then, urging stricter owl checks, expanded prefect rounds. The castle's magic responded in kind. Staircases shifted slower, portraits spied more keenly. The Sorting Hat songs turned somber with pleas for unity. Outside, Europe burned, auras fell in Vienna duels, ministries crumbled in Berlin shadows, but Hogwarts held, its ancient power a bulwark against the tide. Yet that power came at a cost, fraying nerves thread by thread. Late nights in the library saw forbidden books on dark alliances tucked hastily away. Gryffindor versus Slytherin matches devolved into brawls, accusations flying like bludgers. Hufflepuff common rooms hosted tearful vigils for lost kin, candles flickering against barrel walls. Ravenclaw debates raged till dawn, voices cracking over whether Grindelwald's vision held any truth. The tension built like a potion on the boil. Every creak of armour or gust through battlements a reminder that war crept closer. Dumbledore's lectures took on new weight, tales of hubris woven into Transfiguration spells. Fawkes sung a bomb in staff meetings. Grindelwald's broadcasts pierced the wards occasionally, his voice smooth as Amatentia. Join us for the greater good. Students woke sweating from dreams of blue firestorms. The castle's chill no longer just stone. Through it all, Hogwarts endured its refusal to yield a silent defiance. Grindelwald circled like a dragon denied its hoard, his respect for the founder's legacy, holding him back even as his forces battered Europe's gates. The staff bolstered defences quietly. Dumbledore enchanting the gates with Elder Wood runes, McGonagall drilling apparition counters in empty classrooms. The Forbidden Forest grew restless, centaurs issuing grave prophecies under starlight. Merpeople in the lake sent warnings via enchanted shells, bubbles rising with tales of dark ships offshore. The castle breathed with anticipation, every gargoyle vigilant, every tapestry thread humming with old spells. As 1945 dawned, the world held its breath. Dumbledore, long preparing in shadows, finally stepped forth, their duel atop jagged peaks, shattered mountainsides, wands clashing in a spectacle that lit the northern skies. Grindelwald fell, broken but unrepentant, imprisoned in his own Nurmengard, the words "for the greater good" etched above its gates. Hogwarts exhaled, banners fluttering freer, but scars lingered, empty seats at tables, wary glances in halls. The shadow lifted, yet it had changed the school forever, reminding all within of magic's fragile balance. But even as peace settled uneasily, another darkness stirred at the gates. Coming up next, Chapter 14, 1938, the arrival of Tom Riddle, a boy whose footsteps would echo Grindelwald's in ways no one yet foresaw. What secrets did he carry through those very doors, amid the fading echoes of that greater war? As Grindelwald's forces raged across Europe, respecting Hogwarts from afar, like some untouchable relic, the castle welcomed a new first year in September of 1938, who would prove far deadlier up close. Tom Marvolo Riddle arrived not on the scarlet steam of the Hogwarts Express like the other 11-year-olds, but under a watchful eye that sensed trouble from the start. Picture the grimy streets of London that summer, where Albus Dumbledore, now a professor at Hogwarts, with silver threading his auburn hair, stepped into Wool's orphanage. The air hung thick with the smell of boiled cabbage and damp stone, corridors echoing with the shuffle of neglected feet. He'd come for one boy, tipped off by a muggle report of strange happenings, rabbits dying inexplicably, objects vanishing into thin air. There, in a sparse room cluttered with second-hand toys, sat Tom Riddle, 11 years old, his dark hair neatly combed, his eyes sharp as polished obsidian. He didn't cry out for his parents or flinch at the stranger in plum-coloured robes. Instead, he fixed Dumbledore with a stare that chilled the air, demanding to know who this man was and why he could do magic too. Dumbledore explained gently, conjuring a glass of water from thin air to prove it. But the boy wasn't awed, he was calculating. Tom confessed to controlling the other children, making them do his bidding through fear, hiding their things or worse, petrifying a rabbit just to watch it struggle. When Dumbledore noticed a stolen box of trinkets under the bed, items belonging to the other orphans, pilfered without remorse, Tom's face twisted not in shame, but defiance. He knew these things were his by right, he said, because he was special. And then came the warning signs that prickled Dumbledore's skin. The boy's casual mention of his dead mother, whom he claimed couldn't have been a witch because she'd have fought back. His eerie fascination with his own name etched into every surface. The way birds fell dead from the sky near his window, as if drawn to his unspoken will. Dumbledore left that day uneasy, sensing a void where empathy should be, a hunger masked by that unnervingly polite smile. This wasn't a child eager for wonder. It was a predator discovering his claws. By the time the train pulled into Hogsmeade Station under a harvest moon, Tom Riddle had shed his orphanage rags for crisp robes. His trunk packed with pilfered keepsakes, the castle loomed before him, its turrets piercing the night sky like ancient spears, windows aglow with 1,000 flickering candles, while other first years gawked at the great hall's enchanted ceiling, swirling with storm clouds. Tom scanned every shadow, every suit of armor, committing the layout to memory. Hogwarts wasn't just a school to him. It was a labyrinth of secrets begging to be claimed. That very first night, as the sorting hat settled on his head, it whispered truths he craved. His lineage traced back to Salazar Slytherin himself, the founder who'd built hidden chambers deep beneath the foundations. The hat placed him in Slytherin, of course, where green banners rippled like serpents in the draft. But Tom heard more, Parseltongue stirring in his blood, a gift from that serpentine ancestor. He fixated on the castle's enigmas, the moving staircases that defied logic, the forbidden forest's whispers, the very walls that seemed to breathe with forgotten spells. Why did Peeves the poltergeist avoid certain corridors? What lay beyond the one-eyed witch's hump and Slytherin's chamber? Oh, he obsessed over it from day one, poring over library tomes under flickering torchlight, fingers tracing faded runes that spoke of a monster hidden for centuries, waiting for an heir like him. Yet to the world above those shadowy pursuits, Tom Riddle was perfection incarnate. Tall and handsome even as a boy, with a voice like velvet over steel, he charmed professors and peers alike. By second year, he topped every class, potions simmering flawlessly under his wand, Transfiguration bending to his precise incantations, charms flowing as if he'd invented them. Slughorn called him the brightest he'd ever taught, inviting him to exclusive suppers where Tom dazzled with fabricated tales of his tragic Muggle upbringing, all while subtly recruiting followers from the Slytherin ranks. Lonely boys, ambitious purebloods, anyone malleable. Prefect by 5th year, he glided through corridors with a smile that disarmed House-Elves and ghosts alike. Girls sighed over his dark lashes. Teachers praised his essays on defensive spells. But beneath that mask, in the dead of night, he plotted. He'd slip into the restricted section undetected, his stolen wand silencing his steps, devouring texts on the darkest arts. Whispers spread among his circle about experiments in empty classrooms, objects twisted into unnatural shapes, memories probed without consent. He questioned Slughorn about Horcruxes. One fateful evening, his innocent facade cracking just enough to plant the seed of immortality. All the while, Hogwarts hummed on, oblivious to the serpent coiling in its heart, the perfect student weaving a web of loyalty that masked his solitary descent into the abyss. Those early years at Hogwarts shaped Riddle into something unstoppable, his Slytherin heritage fueling a destiny that would eclipse even Grindelwald's shadow. But as whispers of strange happenings echoed through the pipes, something monstrous stirred far below. Next time, in Chapter 15, The Monster Unleashed, you'll discover just how close the castle came to falling forever. Over the next 5 years at Hogwarts, Tom Riddle's charm masked a growing darkness, his silver tongue drawing in a circle of loyal followers from Slytherin House. Boys who hung on his every word about blood purity and hidden powers buried in the castle's stones. He prowled the library's restricted section under the cover of night, his pale fingers tracing ancient runes that whispered of Slytherin's final gift to his heirs, that serpentine legacy coiled deep beneath the foundations. Riddle's obsession deepened with every creak of the castle's shifting walls, every flicker of torchlight revealing clues in forgotten tapestries. He spoke Parseltongue in secret, hissing commands to the portraits that flinched away, sensing the venom in his voice. Whispers spread among the prefects about strange sightings, shadows slithering through the pipes. But Dumbledore watched from afar, his eyes sharp behind half-moon spectacles, noting how Riddle's perfect record hid a void where empathy should have been. By his 5th year, Riddle had pieced together the full riddle of the chamber, that hidden lair built by Salazar Slytherin himself after his fallout with the other founders. A vault of pure blood supremacy, stocked with a monster bred to purge the unworthy. The entrance lay concealed in the girls' bathroom, on the second floor, Triggered only by the tongue of a true heir, Riddle tested it alone one moonless night. His heart pounding as the sink twisted open with a grind of stone on stone, revealing a dank tunnel plunging into blackness, the air thick with the musk of scales and ancient malice. In 1943, for the first time in nearly a millennium, the Chamber of Secrets was opened. Riddle unleashed the Basilisk. That colossal serpent with eyes like yellow death, its fangs dripping venom that could corrode stone. It glided through the castle's plumbing like a nightmare given form, scales scraping against copper pipes, its gaze promising petrification, or worse to any who crossed its path. Hogwarts trembled with an unseen terror, students huddling in common rooms, as rumours of a monster spread like fog rolling off the Black Lake. The first victim was Myrtle Warren, a plain, overlooked girl in her 5th year, prone to tears and hiding in the bathroom to escape bullies. One evening in June, as she sobbed over a cruel jape about her acne-scarred face, the Basilisk struck. She caught a fatal glimpse of those unblinking eyes reflected in the flooded floor. Her body crumpling lifeless amid the stalls, steam rising from the taps like ghosts fleeing the scene. Myrtle's death birthed the legend of Moaning Myrtle, her spirit doomed to haunt that very bathroom, wailing through the pipes for eternity, her translucent form dripping ectoplasm and echoing the school's first true horror in centuries. Panic gripped Hogwarts as the Ministry hover on the edges, demanding answers, while professors scoured the corridors with detection charms. Riddle played the hero, feigning grief with tears that never reached his eyes, all while steering suspicion away from himself. He needed a scapegoat, someone innocent to bear the blame and close the investigation before it unravelled his plans. His gaze fell on Rubeus Hagrid, that gentle half-giant in 3rd year, already expelled once for a forbidden spider but fiercely loyal and utterly trusting. Hagrid had taken in a peculiar creature he'd found in the forest, an acromantler egg hatched into a massive, chittering spider named Aragog, hidden in a cavernous nook. Riddle visited under pretense of friendship, learning just enough to twist the truth. He framed Hagrid masterfully, tipping off the staff with whispers of a monster matching the sightings, leading them straight to the spider's lair. Hagrid protested wildly, his massive hands clutching his wand as they dragged him before Headmaster Dippet. But the evidence seemed ironclad, the threads of fear weaving a noose around the innocent boy. In a tragic expulsion, Hagrid was cast out at 15, his wand snapped in half under his tear-streaked face, left to wander the fringes of the Forbidden Forest with only his creatures for company, his heart broken but his spirit unbroken. The chamber was sealed once more, the Basilisk slithering back into dormancy at Riddle's command, the school limping toward uneasy peace. Yet Riddle emerged stronger, his followers more devoted, tasting the thrill of power unchecked. Dumbledore suspected, of course, piecing together the Parseltongue slips and the boy's unnatural calm. But proof eluded him, leaving a rift that would echo through decades as the war raged beyond the castle walls. With Grindelwald's shadow lengthening over Europe, Riddle delved deeper into forbidden knowledge, his mind turning to secrets that promised dominion beyond mere monsters. What unholy ritual did he uncover next, twisting his soul in ways no student had dared before? That brings us to Chapter 16, the first Horcrux, where one conversation with a trusting professor changes everything forever. As the echoes of Myrtle Warren's tragic death faded into the castle's stone walls, Tom Riddle returned to his Slytherin dormitories, his secret intact, the Basilisk safely coiled back in its chamber. No one suspected the prefect with the flawless record, the boy whose charm masked a growing hunger for power that knew no bounds. He had tasted control, felt the thrill of unleashing an ancient monster, and now his mind turned to deeper, darker pursuits, secrets that would bind his soul to eternity itself. In the flickering candlelight of the Slytherin common room, late into those final years at Hogwarts, Riddle began weaving his most cunning web yet. He had long cultivated a relationship with Professor Horace Slughorn, the potions master whose love for talented students bordered on obsession. Slughorn, with his walrus mustache and penchant for collecting promising young witches and wizards like rare ingredients, saw in Riddle a prize pupil. The boy flattered him endlessly, praising his intellect, sharing fabricated tales of muggle-born friends to ease Slughorn's prejudices, all while steering conversations toward forbidden topics. One evening, as the fire crackled softly and the lake's greenish glow filtered through the windows, Riddle pressed his advantage. He gathered a small group of trusted older Slytherins around Slughorn in his office, posing innocent questions about the soul's resilience, the limits of magic in preserving life. Slughorn, tipsy from elderflower wine, let slip fragments of ancient lore, whispers of Horcruxes, those vile artifacts that could anchor a fragment of the soul outside the body, granting immortality at the cost of murder. Riddle feigned wide-eyed horror, but his questions grew sharper, more insistent, until Slughorn, flustered and regretting his candour, swore them all to secrecy, begging the boy to forget it ever happened. Yet Riddle never forgot. He pored over those words in the dim hours before dawn, the heavy tomes of the restricted section yielding no further clues under his invisibility cloak. The idea consumed him, a way to cheat death, to become more than human. Slughorn's slip had planted the seed, and Riddle nurtured it with ruthless precision, manipulating the professor's vanity until the man became an unwitting architect of his students' damnation. Tom Riddle's manipulation of Horace Slughorn unlocked the forbidden knowledge of the soul, a dark education that would redefine Wizardkin's understanding of immortality. With graduation looming in 1945, Riddle's thoughts drifted beyond Hogwarts gates to the Muggle world that had rejected him. He had learned through whispers and old letters that his mother, Merope Gaunt, had bewitched a handsome Muggle named Tom Riddle Sr. into marriage, bearing a son before dying in an orphanage. His father, repulsed by the spell's end, had abandoned them both, fleeing back to the Grand Riddle House in the village of Little Hangleton. Riddle, now 17 and seething with inherited rage, saw an opportunity. The first Horcrux demanded a murder of profound personal weight. Under a moonless summer sky that same year, he apparated to Little Hangleton, his wand steady, as he confronted the family that had sired him. Tom Riddle Sr., his grandparents, oblivious muggles in their opulent home, faced a figure of pure malice. The killing curse echoed through the quiet manor. 3 lives snuffed out in an instant, their bodies left in a tableau of staged terror to baffle Muggle authorities. Riddle felt no remorse, only a cold exultation as his soul tore in agony, a fragment severed and poured into a simple, unassuming diary he had carried since his first year. The murder of the Riddles transformed the diary into a weapon, a vessel pulsing with his 16-year-old malice, ready to possess and destroy. Back at Hogwarts for his final days, Riddle played the perfect student, acing his N.E.W.T.S. with effortless brilliance. He graduated at the top of his class in June of 1945, his handsome face beaming under the Great Hall's enchanted ceiling, but his ambitions stayed close to home. Emboldened by his prefect status and academic prowess, he approached the headmastership with a bold request: position teaching defense against the dark arts. It was a role he craved, a chance to corrupt from within, to mould future generations in his image. Albus Dumbledore, ever watchful since that first orphanage visit, saw through the facade. The signs were there. The petrified victims blamed on a half-blood heir. The whispers of Riddle's muggle-hunting rhetoric among his followers. Dumbledore denied him flatly, his blue eyes piercing as he cited the school's need for experience beyond mere brilliance. Riddle's graduation masked bitter rejection, his failed application to teach defense against the dark arts, fueling a grudge that would simmer for decades. He left Hogwarts not as a teacher, but as a shadow, taking a job at Borgin and Burke's in Nocturne Alley, where cursed objects whispered promises of further power. In those early months after leaving school, Riddle honed his new weapon in secret. The diary, innocuous to the untrained eye, held a piece of him, Charming, persuasive, deadly. He tested it on unwitting souls, watching as it lured victims into writing their fears, only to drain their life force. Little Hangleton's unsolved murders faded into local legend, the wizarding world untouched by the scandal. Yet Dumbledore knew, piecing together the threads from Slughorn's uneasy confessions and the boy's sudden departure. Riddle's path was set now, a trail of Horcruxes to come, each murder etching his immortality deeper. The castle that had nurtured his genius now stood as a monument to what it had unwittingly unleashed. A boy who would become the greatest dark wizard of them all. You've been with me through the shadows of Tom Riddle's rise, and the calm before the storm lingers just a little longer. Up next in Chapter 17, 1945, the legendary duel, where one man's confrontation changes the wizarding world forever. Don't miss how it nearly crosses paths with our young heir of Slytherin. Rest easy now, and let the history pull you under. With the diary now pulsing as his first anchor to immortality, Tom Riddle returned to Hogwarts for his final year, his mind already drifting far beyond the castle's walls. But 1945 wasn't just the end of his school days. It marked the shattering climax of the global wizarding war, as Albus Dumbledore finally confronted his old friend turned nemesis, Gellert Grindelwald, in a duel that would echo through history. You can almost feel the tension building across Europe that spring. Grindelwald's forces had ravaged wizarding communities from the Black Forest to the streets of Paris, his vision of a greater good twisting into domination. Muggles subjugated under spells of obedience. Whispers reached even Hogwarts halls, where students like Riddle debated the dark wizard's philosophies in hushed tones during late-night astronomy tower gatherings. Grindelwald had always spared the school, you see. A peculiar reverence for its ancient stones, perhaps rooted in his own Durmstrang expulsion or the legends of its founders. Yet as Allied forces closed in and wizarding rebellions flared, Dumbledore knew the time had come. No more delays, no more philosophical letters exchanged in secret. The man who had shaped his youth, the one who'd shared dreams of wizard supremacy back in Godric's Hollow, had to be stopped. It happened on a stormy evening in June, high in the jagged peaks of Nurmengard, Grindelwald's fortress prison carved from the mountains themselves. Rain lashed the battlements like Finfire whips, thunder rumbling as if the giants of old were stirring. Dumbledore arrived alone, his half-moon spectacles glinting under his wide-brimmed hat, his phoenix feather wand steady in hand. Grindelwald awaited him in the central tower, his pale eyes gleaming with a mix of fury and nostalgia. The Elder Wand, yes, that legendary deathly hallow, the unbeatable instrument of power, clutched like an extension of his soul. Their wands met in a blaze that lit the night sky, brighter than any Muggle bombing raid below. Spells erupted in a symphony of destruction. Crimson stunners shattering stone, azure jets of ice encasing the air in crystalline prisons, arcs of green that scorched the earth but never quite connected. Grindelwald unleashed the Cruciatus curse first, a scarlet whip cracking toward Dumbledore's chest, but Albus deflected it with a casual flick, transfiguring it mid-air into a flock of silver ravens that wheeled and dove at his foe. The air hummed with raw magic, the scent of ozone and charred rock thick enough to taste. Grindelwald laughed maniacally, summoning gouts of flame that twisted into serpentine dragons, only for Dumbledore to counter with a Protego shield that expanded like a dome of starlight, absorbing the inferno and hurling it back as harmless spark. Hours blurred into an eternity of parries and thrusts. Grindelwald's protean charm warped the very castle walls, turning them into grasping tentacles of granite that snaked toward Dumbledore's feet. Albus shattered them with a reducto that boomed like cannon fire, dust clouds billowing as he pressed forward. The dark wizard's voice cut through the chaos. For the greater good, Albus, join me again. But Dumbledore's response was steel, silent spells that pinned Grindelwald against a pillar with chains of pure light. The Elder Wand faltered in Grindelwald's grip, its allegiance wavering. for legends whispered it only served the wizard who truly conquered its master. At last, with a final cataclysmic clash, wands locked in priori incantatem, golden light erupting in a vortex that shook the mountain, Dumbledore disarmed him. The Elder Wand flew into his hand, its core thrumming with reluctant acceptance. Grindelwald sank to his knees, defeated not just in body, but in spirit, his empire crumbling as word spread like fiend fire across the wizarding world. This was the acquisition of the Elder Wand, you understand. The pivotal moment when its unstoppable power shifted hands, but more than that, it signaled a profound shift in the school's power dynamic. Back at Hogwarts, with Grindelwald vanquished, Dumbledore's stature soared. Armando Dippet, the aging headmaster, stepped aside amid the celebrations, and Albus assumed leadership, not as a conqueror, but as a guardian whose victory had proven his unyielding commitment to light. Hogwarts entered a golden age of peace. Under Dumbledore's watchful eye, the castle breathed easier, its towers no longer shadowed by distant war drums. Students returned to Quidditch pitches, slick with summer rain. House tables groaned under feasts of roast beef and treacle tart, and the great hall's enchanted ceiling mirrored clear blue skies for the first time in years. Dumbledore roamed the corridors with his sherbet lemons and twinkling eyes, subtly weaving protections into the very stones, words against dark influences that Riddle himself would test in coming decades. Professors like Slughorn hosted lavish Slug Club dinners celebrating the war's end, while ghosts like Nearly Headless Nick recounted the duel in dramatic reenactments at Halloween feasts. Even the Forbidden Forest seemed less foreboding, centaurs nodding respectfully to the new headmaster during his midnight strolls. It was an era of renewal, where knowledge flowed freely, friendships across houses blossomed, and the Sorting Hat sang songs of unity rather than division. Riddle graduated that summer his N.E.W.T., flawless, his secrets buried deep. But as he slipped into the Muggle world to plot his rise, Hogwarts stood as a beacon, Dumbledore's victory ensuring decades of tranquility. Yet peace, as wizards know, is fragile. Whispers of new shadows would soon gather, pulling in a band of mischievous Gryffindors whose pranks and maps would redefine schoolboy rebellion. Up next, Chapter 18. The Marauders era. Stick around, because their untold adventures will have you wondering just how much trouble four friends could really stir in those hallowed halls. With Dumbledore victorious, clutching the Elder Wand after that fateful 1945 duel, Hogwarts breathed a sigh of relief, its towers standing sentinel over a wizarding world licking its wounds. The headmaster's gaze turned inward, fortifying the castle against future storms, but peace proved fleeting. By the 1960s, as the calm between wars stretched thin, a fresh wave of mischief crashed against those ancient stones, carried by four Gryffindor boys who would redefine rebellion at the school. James Potter arrived first in 1960, his messy black hair already hinting at the untamable spirit beneath. Quidditch prodigy from the start, he chased the snitch with a grin that dared the wind itself. But it was his wandwork in the corridors that turned heads. X's flying like fireworks, always one step ahead of Filch's prowling lantern. Then came Sirius Black in 1961, the handsome heir to a most ancient house, pure blood through and through, yet scorning every ounce of his family's dark legacy. He blasted through Slytherin pretensions with pranks that echoed like thunder, his laughter a weapon sharper than any curse. Remus Lupin slipped in quietly the next year, pale and scarred, his eyes holding secrets heavier than the full moon's pull. He huddled over books in the library's dim corners, devouring charms and transfigurations with a hunger born of necessity. And Peter Pettigrew, small and unassuming in 1964, tagged along in their wake, his quiet admiration fueling the fire they all shared. Together, James Potter, Sirius Black, Remus Lupin, and Peter Pettigrew became the new rebels, a pack of pranksters who treated Hogwarts not as a prison of rules, but a playground of endless possibility. They dubbed themselves the Marauders, mapping every hidden nook, every whispered legend, turning the castle's mysteries into their personal domain. Their rebellion ignited in earnest during their second year, when Remus's affliction came to light, not through pity, but through unbreakable loyalty. You see, Remus was a werewolf, bitten as a child under a merciless moon, his transformations a torment that twisted boy into beast. Dumbledore had planted the Whomping Willow. The very autumn of 1965, its thrashing branches, a ferocious guardian at the castle's edge, concealing a tunnel that burrowed deep beneath the grounds. At its end lay the Shrieking Shack in Hogsmeade, that ramshackle house where villagers swore ghosts wailed through the nights. But those shrieks, they were Remus, alone in agony, claws raking walls as fur sprouted and bones reshaped under the lunar curse. The Marauders wouldn't stand for it. James, with his knack for aerial scouting on his broom. Sirius, ever the animagus prodigy in the making, Remus himself sketching feverish notes between panes, and Peter squeezing through cracks no one else could. They uncovered the secret of the Whomping Willow and the Shrieking Shack piece by tortured piece. Nights blurred into a frenzy of forbidden research in the restricted section, dodging Peeves's cackles and McGonagall's stern patrols. They pored over ancient tomes on metamorphosis, the air thick with ink and whispered incantations, the scent of aged parchment, mingling with the faint wild musk of Remus's fear. By their third year, the impossible took shape. Sirius mastered the animagus transformation first, becoming a sleek black dog whose growls could scatter first years like leaves. James followed as a stag, antlers gleaming under moonlight, powerful enough to lead the way. Peter shrank into a rat, nimble and overlooked, perfect for slipping past wards. Remus, still bound to his wolfish form, watched in awe as his friends donned animal guises to join him each full moon. They'd freeze the knot at the willow's trunk with a well-aimed spell. James's specialty, then raced through the tunnel, emerging in the shack not as boys, but as beast and companions. The wolf paced and snapped, but the stag held firm. The dog nipped at heels to distract. The rat darted like a shadow. No longer alone, Remus endured. The shack's floorboards scarred not just by claws, but by paws that refused to abandon him. This bond forged something legendary, the creation of the Marauders map, mapping the unplottable. What began as crude sketches on pilfered parchment evolved through years of enchantment. They ensnared the castle's very essence, footsteps echoing in real time, secret passages uncoiling like veins, even the Headmaster's twinkling path through hidden doors. Remus contributed the homunculum charm, revealing every soul within those walls. Messers, Moony, Wormtail, Padfoot and Prongs, purveyors of aids to magical mischief makers, are proud to present the Marauders map. Ink flowed like liquid night, folding secrets into folds no unplottable charm could hide. They tested it relentlessly. James dashing to the owlery under its watchful lines, Sirius ambushing Snape in the dungeons, Peter evading Filch through a one-way mirror portal behind the knight's armour. The map became their heartbeat, a living parchment pulsing with Hogwarts' hidden pulse, betraying professors' patrols and rivals' schemes alike. Imagine the thrill of those moonlit escapades, the crisp autumn air biting as they huddled in the Gryffindor common room, firelight dancing on the map's edges, pranks escalated, exploding snap cards rigged for Slytherin tables, dung bombs timed to McGonagall's lectures, Sirius's hair potion turning half the Quidditch team green mid-match. Yet beneath the chaos lay profound magic, friendship defying curses, loyalty outshining any spell. James's glasses fogged with laughter as they evaded capture, Sirius's bark echoing triumph, Remus's rare smile breaking through the shadows, Peter's squeak of delight in the fray. Hogwarts thrummed with their energy. Through the 1970s, Quidditch cups piling up under James's chaser flair, detentions blending into legend, but whispers of darkness crept in. Voldemort's shadow lengthening beyond the castle walls, pure blood supremacy stirring old hatreds. The Marauders, rebels to the core, stood defiant, their map a testament to mastery over the unplottable. Their transformations a shield against isolation. Little did they know, betrayal lurked even among friends, seeds of tragedy sown in those playful years. As the 1970s waned, those schoolboy antics gave way to a gathering storm, one that would pull even the boldest marauders into war's brutal embrace. Stay with me, because in Chapter 19, The Rise of the Death Eaters, we uncover how Voldemort's inner circle began to sliver from the shadows, ensnaring allies in ways that would shatter loyalties forever, while the Marauders revelled in their pranks and perfected the Marauders' map to uncover every hidden corner of Hogwarts. A darker undercurrent was stirring in the castle's depths. Slytherin House, long the bastion of pure blood pride, began to fracture along lines of blood status, with whispers of superiority turning into outright venom. Severus Snape, that gaunt boy with lank black hair and eyes like tunnels too deeply bored into a face as colourless as a dead fish, found himself at the heart of it all. Sorted into Slytherin in 1971, alongside James Potter and his friends, Snape endured relentless torment from the Gryffindor quartet. They called him Snivelus, dangling him upside down by his ankles in the courtyard, his underwear exposed to jeering crowds. But it was in the Slytherin common room, bathed in the eerie green glow from the Black Lake's windows, that his true transformation took root. He fell in with the pure-blood cliques, Lucius Malfoy, already a towering figure with his aristocratic sneer, Mulciber, who delighted in the imperious curse on Muggle-borns for sport, Avery, Rosier, the lot of them boys who spoke of blood purity as if it were etched in the castle stones. Snape, half-blood himself yet desperate for belonging, absorbed their rhetoric like a sponge. He pored over books of dark spells in the library's restricted section, his potions talent earning grudging respect. But it was their talk of a rising Dark Lord that ignited something fierce within him. The radicalization of Severus Snape and the Slytherin pure blood cliques wasn't born of sudden violence. It simmered slowly, fueled by resentment, isolation, and the intoxicating promise of power for those deemed worthy. You can almost feel the chill of those dungeon conversations, the way the firelight flickered on silver serpent emblems, as they debated Muggle-borns infiltrating their world. Snape's childhood friendship with Lily Evans frayed under the strain. Her horror at his casual use of mudblood severed what little light remained in his life. By his 5th year, he was sketching the dark mark in the margins of his notes, dreaming of a wizarding order cleansed of inferiors. Malfoy, now prefect, smuggled in pamphlets from Nocturne Alley, preaching the return of Salazar Slytherin's vision. These cliques didn't just talk, they acted in shadows, hexing Muggle-born students in corridors, leaving effigies of blood traitors smouldering in the Great Hall. Dumbledore watched from afar, his half-moon spectacles glinting with concern. But the headmaster's interventions felt like distant thunder to boys already enthralled by thunderbolts of a darker kind. As the 1970s wore on, that Dark Lord made his presence felt at Hogwarts itself. Lord Voldemort, once Tom Riddle, the prefect who'd charmed the school decades earlier, returned under a guise of respectability. In 1970, whatever the exact year escapes the records, he glided through the castle gates, his red eyes hidden behind a veneer of scholarly poise. Applying for the defence against the dark arts professorship, Dumbledore, ever perceptive, denied him the post, sensing the abyss beneath the man's charm. Enraged yet composed, Voldemort exploited the moment. He slipped into the 7th floor corridor, whispering to the Room of Requirement, until it manifested as a shad cavern cluttered with forgotten relics. There, amid dusty trophies and broken furniture, he concealed one of his Horcruxes, Rowena Ravenclaw's lost diadem, its silver circlet inscribed with the words, "Wit beyond measure is man's greatest treasure." Lord Voldemort's return to the school to hide a Horcrux in the Room of Requirement went undetected, the diadem joining the Basilisk's legacy as another poison woven into Hogwarts' bones. He left that night with a curse lingering in his wake, a subtle, vicious hex placed on the very position he'd been denied. From then on, The defense against the dark arts post became a poisoned chalice. No teacher lasts a year. Quirrell crumbled under Voldemort's possession by 1992. Lockhart's fraudulence imploded spectacularly. Lupin's werewolf curse forced his resignation. Moody, crouch in disguise, fled after exposure. Umbridge was chased out by centaurs. And even Snape himself lasted mere months before the Battle of Hogwarts claimed him. Each departed broken, vanished or dead. The curse ensuring the subject it taught remained forever elusive to those who needed it most. Whispers among staff pinned it on Voldemort's spite, a perpetual reminder that darkness could infiltrate even the safest haven. The Slytherin cliques swelled with recruits, Snape among the first to take the dark mark upon graduation, his arm branded in a ritual that bound him to Voldemort's cause. Pure blood fervour spread like fiend fire through the house, drawing in Evan Rosier, Wilkes the Lestrange, names that would echo in terror across wizarding Britain. Hogwarts, once a refuge, now harboured seeds of war, the lake's depths mirroring the turmoil bubbling beneath. And as these shadows lengthened, pulling the wizarding world toward open conflict, we'll uncover the full fury in Chapter 20. The First Wizarding War. What brutal battles erupted, how families were torn apart, and the shocking betrayals that nearly toppled everything. Stay with me as the storm breaks. With the Horcrux safely concealed in the Room of Requirement, Voldemort's shadow stretched far beyond Hogwarts walls, fueling a pure-blood crusade that ignited the First Wizarding War around 1970. Families vanished in the night, Muggle-borns faced unmarked graves, and the air thickened with curses whispered in dark alleys. Dumbledore, sensing the storm's full fury, rallied a secret alliance, the Order of the Phoenix, transforming the ancient castle into an unbreachable fortress. Hogwarts stood as that fortress for the Order of the Phoenix, its wards reinforced with ancient spells that hummed like invisible shields against the gathering dark. Towering gargoyles on the battlements seemed to watch with fiercer eyes, their stone claws gripping tighter as if ready to leap. Dumbledore's office became a war room, Phoenix song echoing softly amid maps pinned with glowing threads tracking Death Eater movements. Members slipped through the castle's hidden passages, Splack with his reckless grin, James Potter gripping his wand like a lifeline, Remus Lupin pale but resolute, gathering in the Room of Requirement for briefings that stretched into dawn. The castle's very stones absorbed their oaths, the fat lady's portrait muttering warnings to any who lingered too long in suspicious corridors. Even the House-Elves, those silent sentinels, ferried messages through the kitchens, their wide eyes reflecting the fear that no enchantment could fully banish. Outside these walls, the war raged unchecked. Voldemort's Death Eaters struck with precision. Bridges collapsed under Avada Kedavra's green flash. Villages burned under Fiend Fire's roar, and the Ministry teetered on collapse. Auras fell in droves, their families left to grieve in secrecy. Pure-blood families like the Malfoys hosted lavish gatherings that masked recruitment drives, while half-bloods and Muggle-borns huddled in safe houses warded by Fidelius charms. The Daily Prophet's headlines screamed of disappearances, yet censorship choked the truth, leaving whispers to spread like fiend fire through Diagon Alley. Hogwarts, though, remained a beacon, its express chugging through enchanted tunnels that twisted away from ambushes, delivering students who carried the war's weight in their young hearts. Inside the castle, an atmosphere of suspicion poisoned every common room and corridor, with students turning against students as the war escalated. Gryffindors eyed Slytherins with wands half drawn, convinced every green-trimmed robe hid a dark mark. Whispers flew during meals in the Great Hall. Had Evan Rosier been seen slipping out after curfew? Was Regulus Black truly his brother's enemy, or just playing both sides? Fights erupted in the libraries, accusations hurled like stunning spells. Your family's on the list. A Ravenclaw prefect, once known for her logic, denounced a Hufflepuff friend as a potential spy after overhearing a family name linked to the Death Eaters. Dueling clubs turned brutal, excuses for settling scores born of fear. Even the Quidditch pitch, that brief escape, buzzed with tension. Bludgers aimed a little too true. Captains barring players suspected of divided loyalties. Professors patrolled in pairs, their eyes sharp for the imperious curse's glassy stare, while the Slytherin dungeons echoed with heated debates that sometimes ended in hexes. Trust frayed like old parchment, and the castle's warmth dimmed, replaced by the chill of betrayal lurking in every shadow. Dumbledore walked these halls like a lighthouse in fog, his half-moon spectacles glinting as he mediated flare-ups, his voice a calm anchor amid the storm. Yet even he couldn't quell the rising dread. Families pulled children from school, citing safety, leaving empty seats at the tables. The ghosts drifted mournfully, nearly headless Nick recounting old wars to wide-eyed first years, while the bloody Baron loomed silently, his chains rattling a grim reminder of blood feuds past. Potions classes dissected antidotes to cruciitis with grim focus, but strangulation lessons twisted into defensive drills, and charms rang with the incantations of protective barriers. The war's tendrils crept in, owl posts delayed by attacks, howlers exploding with parental fury, and the occasional auror apparition in the staff room, bandaged and urgent. As 1980 dawned, with Death Eaters bolder and the Order stretched thin, Dumbledore sought new seers for insight, interviewing Sybil Trelawney in the dim, musty Hog's Head Inn. The pub's air hung heavy with butterbeer fumes and suspicion. Goats bleating faintly behind the bar, Aberforth Dumbledore eyeing strangers from the shadows. Trelawney, draped in shawls and peering through oversized glasses, had long peddled vague divinations from her tower perch at Hogwarts. But that night, as Dumbledore sipped his ale, her voice dropped to a trance-like whisper, her eyes rolling back. The prophecy spilled forth, her first true prediction. Words that chilled the air like a Dementor's breath. The one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord approaches, born to those who have thrice defied him, born as the 7th month dies, and the Dark Lord will mark him as his equal. But he will have power the Dark Lord knows not, and either must die at the hand of the other, for neither can live while the other survives. The one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord will be born as the 7th month dies. Snape, lurking unseen in the pub's back room on a Death Eater errand, overheard fragments, enough to relay to Voldemort, twisting fate in his desperation to protect Lily Evans. Dumbledore seized Trelawney on the spot, whisking her to Hogwarts as divination professor, the prophecy sealed away, its weight pressing like an unspoken curse. The war machine ground on, but those words hung over everything, a fragile thread between light and abyss. Through it all, Hogwarts endured, its fires burning steady in the hearths, a fragile sanctuary where hope flickered amid the gathering dark. But that prophecy would ignite the spark for the event that birthed a legend. The night no wizarding family would forget. Coming up next in Chapter 21, The Boy Who Lived, as the First Wizarding War gripped Hogwarts like an unyielding fog, turning corridors into whispered battlegrounds, where students eyed each other with the sharp glint of betrayal. The end came not in a blaze of wands across the castle grounds, but in the shadowed streets of Godric's Hollow. On Halloween night, 1981, Lord Voldemort, the self-styled Dark Lord, whose shadow had darkened every feast hall and dormitory, targeted a prophecy-bound infant named Harry Potter, the boy destined to unravel his reign. James Potter fell first, his defiant cry echoing through the night as the killing curse struck him down at the door. Lily Potter, pleading for her son's life, stood her ground in the nursery upstairs. Her love a barrier no dark magic could pierce. Voldemort's curse rebounded, shattering his form into ethereal wisps, leaving Harry with a lightning scar but alive. The boy who lived. Word of the Dark Lord's vanishing spread like wildfire through the wizarding world, reaching Hogwarts by dawn the next day. Professors gathered in the staff room, their faces pale under the flicker of candlelight, as owls battered the windows with frantic messages from the ministry. Dumbledore arrived swiftly, his half-moon spectacles reflecting the silence, confirming the impossible. Voldemort was gone, his body destroyed, his followers scattering into hiding or capture. The castle, which had been a fortress ringed by protective charms and patrolled by aurors, exhaled. Classes resumed within days, but the air hummed with a fragile relief. Gryffindors toasted the Potters in the common room, their cheers muffled by grief for James and Lily. Slytherins huddled in corners, whispers of denial clashing with fear of reprisal. Hufflepuffs tended to shaken first years, brewing endless cups of calming draughts, while Ravenclaws pored over ancient texts, debating if the Dark Lord could truly be vanquished so utterly. Yet beneath the celebrations, scars lingered. The great hall's enchanted ceiling mirrored the wizarding sky, storm clouds parting to reveal stars, but thunder still rumbled faintly in the distance. Students who had lost family to Death Eater raids returned hollow-eyed, and ghost patrols by nearly headless Nick grew more vigilant, their translucent forms gliding through walls to soothe nightmares. The Order of the Phoenix disbanded formally, its members like Remus Lupin wandering the grounds one last time, maps folded away, secrets buried. Hogwarts, once a hive of suspicion where a misplaced glance could spark a duel, softened into tentative normalcy. Feasts brimmed with pumpkin pasties and treacle tart again. Quidditch pitches rang with broomsticks slicing the air, and the Whomping Willow thrashed idly, no longer a covert meeting spot for werewolves. In the midst of this upheaval stood Severus Snape, the potions prodigy turned Death Eater, whose path had twisted through love and regret, devastated by Lily Potter's death. The woman he'd loved since childhood, lost because of the prophecy he'd overheard and relayed to Voldemort. Snape stumbled to Dumbledore's office under cover of night. The headmaster, perched behind his desk amid whirring silver instruments, listened without judgment as Snape poured out his anguish, bowing to atone. Dumbledore saw the raw potential in that broken man. A spy in the enemy's midst, his occlumency skills honed from years of masking emotions. Thus began Snape's double life. He pledged undying loyalty to Dumbledore, infiltrating the remnants of Voldemort's inner circle, while feeding the Order scraps of intelligence. To cement his cover, Dumbledore appointed him Potions Master at Hogwarts, replacing the retired Horace Slughorn. Slughorn's opulent office, with signed photos of famous alumni, gave way to Snape's austere domain, shelves groaning under jars of shrivel figs and boomslang skin, cauldrons simmering with brews that masked his divided heart. Snape's first classes were a trial by fire. Slytherin students, many with parents who'd borne the dark mark, watched him with wary awe, while Gryffindors bristled under his cutting remarks, sensing the bitterness beneath his billowing robes. He brewed Polyjuice Potion in secret for Order missions, his long fingers steady as he stirred counterclockwise, all while perfecting his legilimency to withstand any probe from returning Death Eaters. Dumbledore shielded him fiercely, quashing rumours with a twinkling eye and a murmured, "Trust me." The castle adapted to its new guardian of shadows. House-Elves scurried past his dungeon classroom with trays of ingredients, and the Slytherin common room's Lakeview windows fogged with the steam of his late-night experiments. This fragile peace stretched into a decade of calm from 1981 to 1991, a breathless interlude where Hogwarts fortified itself against the storm everyone knew would return. Dumbledore reinforced the school's ancient wards, layering Fidelius charms over the boundaries and commissioning new portraits to relay messages through the grapevine of painted eyes. Professors drilled defensive spells into curricula. Protego became as routine as Wingardium Leviosa, while the Forbidden Forest centaurs murmured prophecies of darkness stirring. Students grew up in this vigilant hush. Seventh years like Charlie Weasley tamed dragons on the pitches for sport, oblivious to the deeper preparations. The Ministry, under Cornelius Fudge's rising influence, downplayed Voldemort's return as fantasy, but Hogwarts knew better. Snape's reports trickled in, whispers of Nagini sightings, Fragments of Horcrux hunts, filing them in Dumbledore's pensieve for study. The castle itself seemed to brace, suits of armour oiled and sharpened. The bloody baron's chains rattling warnings in empty halls. Evenings in the library grew longer. Madam Pince shushing debates over the Elder Wand's last allegiance. Fawkes trilled phoenix songs that warded despair, and the kitchens overflowed with comfort food. Roast beef and Yorkshire puddings to nourish bodies and spirits. Yet the scar on a hidden boy's forehead pulsed faintly in Surrey, a reminder that the Dark Lord lingered, bodiless but unbroken. Hogwarts waited, its stones humming with quiet resolve, every gargoyle perched a little higher, every tapestry thread woven tighter, and as whispers of a certain 11-year-old's acceptance letter begin to circulate through Diagon Alley, you'll want to stay tuned for what's next. The return of Harry Potter, when the boy who lived steps through those great oak doors and everything changes forever. I hope you're as amazed by this as I am. If you want to stay updated on more content like this, make sure to subscribe and join our community of curious minds. Trust me, what's coming next will challenge everything you thought you knew. A decade slips by after Voldemort's downfall in 1981, and Hogwarts breathes a fragile calm under Dumbledore's watchful eye. With Severus Snape now the unyielding potions master, his double-agent shadows lingering in every cauldron's steam, whispers of the boy who lived fade into legend, a child's scar the only mark of that night in Godric's Hollow. Yet the castle's stones seem to hum with anticipation, as if the ancient wards sense a storm gathering once more. In 1991, on a rainy September 1st, platform 9 3/4 buzzes with a chatter of returning students and wide-eyed first years. Among them, hidden under oversized robes and a mop of untidy black hair, walks 11-year-old Harry Potter. He doesn't know the fame that trails him like a ghost. The boy who lived, the child who survived the killing curse, now stepping unknowingly into the school that shaped his parents' rebellion. Hagrid, the gentle giant of a groundskeeper, collects him from the Dursleys' mundane world, his booming voice echoing through Diagon Alley as they shop for wands and owls. Ollivander's shop dusts alive with magic when Harry's wand chooses him. A holly core with phoenix feather, brother to the Dark Lord's own. The Hogwarts Express rattles northward, scarlet engine cutting through misty moors, and in a compartment slick with sweets wrappers, Harry meets his first true allies. Ron Weasley, freckled and fierce from a sprawling pure-blood family loyal to Dumbledore's light, shares chocolate frogs that leap from their boxes. Hermione Granger, bushy-haired and brilliant, bursts in clutching a frog card of Dumbledore himself, her muggle-born precision already clashing with wizarding whims. But across the way, Draco Malfoy sneers from the Slytherin crowd, his pale drawl dripping with inherited prejudice, eyes narrowing at Harry's unknowing fame. The old house divide stirs, Gryffindor's bold fire against Slytherin's cunning ambition. A feud dormant since the Marauders, but now flickering back to life. The Great Hall awaits under a ceiling enchanted to mirror the storm-lashed sky, candles floating like stars above the long tables. First years shuffle forward, the sorting hat perched on its stool, its brim tattered from a millennium of judgments. Godric Gryffindor's ancient artifact, stitched from his own cap by the founders around 900, delves into minds with a raspy song of houses divided yet united. It weighs Harry's heart, Evie with Orphan's loneliness, sparked by unexplained bravery, and Bellows Gryffindor. Cheers erupt from the Scarlet Table, but Slytherin's green eyes glint with resentment, Draco's scowl promising rivalry. The return of the boy who lived isn't just a homecoming. It's a spark on dry tinder, rekindling the Gryffindor-Slytherin feud that Salazar himself sowed centuries ago. Houses clashing in Quidditch pitches and corridors like echoes of Gryffindor and Slytherin's own bloody rift. Dumbledore rises, his half-moon spectacles catching the light, voice twinkling yet grave. Quirinus Quirrell, the new defense against the dark arts professor, stands twitching at the staff table, turban askew, stammering welcomes. No one suspects the horror coiled beneath that fabric. Classes begin. Oceans a dungeon haze of bubbling spite under Snape's hooked nose, where he favours Slytherins and sneers at Harry's every misstep, dredging up James Potter's ghost in every critique. Flying lessons bring brooms whistling through autumn air. Neville Longbottom's Remembrall, tumbling earthward until Harry's dive saves it, earning Gryffindor's Quidditch Seeker spot. A prodigy at 11, mirroring his father's talent, but shadows creep in. Whispers of a break-in at Gringotts. The Goblin Bank's deepest vault rifled empty, though untouched, or so they claim. Then the third-floor corridor, out of bounds, sealed by Dumbledore's decree. Harry's trio stumbles upon a massive three-headed dog, Fluffy, its slobbering jaws guarding a trapdoor. The air reeks of danger, saliva dripping like venom. Rumours swirl of Nicola Flamel, the alchemist who brewed the Philosopher's Stone, a ruby elixir granting immortality, hidden now at Hogwarts. Voldemort, bodiless wraith since 1981, hungers for it, his spirit clinging to life through fragments of soul scattered in Horcruxes, just as he once hid one in the Room of Requirement. During his Riddle days, Dumbledore, ever the chess master, transforms the school into a series of deadly traps, layering protections around the stone, like the castle's own foundational wards. First, Fluffy's ferocious guard, imported from the wilds, its head snapping in eternal vigilance. Beneath, a devil's snare writhes in suffocating tendrils. Helga Hufflepuff's own herbology legacy twisted to lethal purpose. Flying keys swarm like silver bullets. The winged keys room a blur of feathers and wind. A colossal chessboard pits living pieces in a sacrificial game. Knights toppling with bone-crunching force. Potions riddles line vials along a shadowed chamber. One sip salvation, another death by liquid fire. And at the heart, the Mirror of Erised, Rowena Ravenclaw's creation from medieval depths, reflecting deepest desires. Dumbledore's final gambit, where true intent alone reveals the stone. Quirrell's facade cracks in glimpses. During a troll rampage on Halloween, its club splintering a bathroom stall where Hermione cowers. Harry spots the professor's odd absence, turban reeking of garlic to ward off imagined vampires. In a forbidden forest detention, under centaur constellations, Harry's scar burns like a brand, unicorns slain by a cloaked figure draining silver blood. Voldemort's first infiltration comes subtly, in the defense classroom itself, the man with two faces. Quirrell unwraps his turban in a midnight duel, revealing the Dark Lord's lipless face, grafted to the back of his skull, red eyes slitting through greasy hair, commanding Quirrell to seize the stone. The air chills, Quirrell's body puppet to that parasitic whisper. Voldemort's high-pitched hiss demanding flesh restored. Harry faces him alone before the mirror, his reflection clutching the stone he never touched. Quirrell lunges, skin blistering at Harry's innocent touch. Lily, magic, love's echo from his mother's sacrifice. Voldemort flees as smoke, Quirrell crumbling to ash. Dumbledore arrives, explaining the trap's genius. Only selfless heart could claim the stone, foiling Voldemort's greed. Gryffindor triumphs in house points. The feast a roar of lions, but Slytherin's grudge simmers. Draco's taunts sharper than ever. The castle settles, yet the air thickens with unspoken threats. Harry's first year unearths not just personal legend, but Hogwarts' enduring war between light and shadow. Deeper secrets stir in the plumbing echoes of moaning myrtle, the chamber's forgotten call awakening. In the next chapter, the Heir of Slytherin returns. A petrified cat and blood-red writing on the walls signal something ancient and monstrous uncoiling from Salazar's hidden lair. Don't miss how the Basilisk's gaze turns the school to stone. As the dust settled from Harry's triumph over Quirrell and the Philosopher's Stone in 1991, Hogwarts exhaled a fragile peace, the Gryffindor-Slytherin tensions still crackling like embers underfoot. But by the autumn of 1992, whispers of an heir returned, echoing from the castle's forgotten bowels, where Salazar Slytherin's monstrous legacy slithered back to life. That year, young Ginny Weasley, the wide-eyed first-year sister of Ron, clutched a small black diary she'd received as a supposed birthday gift from Lucius Malfoy. though he slipped it into her cauldron at flourish and blots without a word. Unbeknownst to her, this wasn't just any journal. It was a vessel of pure malice, crafted decades earlier by Tom Riddle himself during his school days. The diary, one of his earliest Horcruxes, held a fragment of his soul, a sly conduit that drank in Ginny's deepest fears and insecurities, pouring back fabricated sympathy in Riddle's elegant looping script. Night after night, Ginny poured her heart onto those blank pages, confiding her loneliness amid the boisterous Weasley brothers. Her crush on Harry, the weight of being the only girl in her family. The diary listened, then twisted. Ink would vanish as she wrote, replaced by responses that felt achingly real. Riddle praising her bravery, her hidden strengths, urging her to prove herself worthy of Slytherin's line. Under his subtle command, Ginny's hand grew heavier. Her steps led her unknowingly to the girls' bathroom, where moaning Myrtle wailed. And there, in a trance, she hissed in Parseltongue the words to unseal the Chamber of Secrets for the first time since Riddle's own reign of terror half a century before. The castle stirred with the first omens on Halloween. Students spilled from the Great Hall, laughing off sweets and pumpkin juice, when Harry and Ron stumbled upon the grim scene. Mrs. Norris, Filch's beloved cat, rigid and lifeless, suspended by her tail from a torch bracket, scrawled in blood-red paint on the wall above her. The Chamber of Secrets has been opened. Enemies of the hair, beware. Gasps rippled through the crowd as Dumbledore arrived, his eyes grave behind half-moon spectacles. Mandrake roots already being potted in the greenhouses for restorative drafts. Whispers flew. Slytherin's monster was loose again, petrifying Muggle-borns as it had in Riddle's day. Panic seeped into the stone corridors like damp fog from the Black Lake. Colin Creevey, the eager first-year Gryffindor, with his ever-clicking Muggle camera, was found petrified days later, his face frozen in wide-eyed shock. Film canister clutched in stiff fingers. Justin Finch Fletchley, the Hufflepuff with dreams of Eton dashed by his magical blood, toppled rigid beside nearly headless Nick the Gryffindor ghost. His spectral form solidified into a ghostly statue, silver blood leaking from his neck. The hospital wing filled with the eerie hush of petrified bodies. Madame Pomfrey weaving counter-curses that failed against the Basilisk's venomous gaze. Glimpsed indirectly through reflections or cameras. Fear gripped parents across Britain. Owl Post deluged the headmaster's desk with furious howlers demanding explanations, while the Daily Prophet screamed headlines of incompetence. Minister Cornelius Fudge himself descended upon Hogwarts, his bowler hat askew. Pressured by Lucius Malfoy's influence on the school board, rumours swirled of permanent closure. The board voted to suspend classes indefinitely, citing the statute of sacristy at risk if Muggle-borns kept vanishing or worse. Tents sprouted on the grounds as parents yanked their children home. Hagrid was arrested on flimsy evidence, dragged off in chains, his hut left smouldering from spells gone awry. The once vibrant halls echoed emptily, suits of armour creaking in the chill drafts, portraits murmuring suspicions toward Harry after his Parseltongue slip-up in duelling club. Ginny's torment deepened under the diary's thrall. She grew pale and withdrawn, fainting spells plaguing her as Riddle's shade grew stronger, siphoning her life force to manifest fully. He taunted Harry through visions, mocking him as the false heir, while the Basilisk's yellow eyes scoured the pipes for prey. Penelope Clearwater, the Ravenclaw prefect, and Hermione Granger herself fell victim. Hermione petrified mid-research, her hand clutching a torn page revealing the Basilisk's nature, her bushy hair frozen in mid-snarl, teeth bared from a failed polyjuice attempt to unmask the heir. Suspicion coiled tighter around Harry, the scar-headed orphan who spoke snake tongue, shunned even by his housemates. Ron wrestled with betrayal, but loyalty held. Together they pieced the puzzle from moaning Myrtle's sobs and the diary's voided pages. When Ginny vanished entirely, dragged into the chamber by Riddle's command, Harry confronted the truth alone. Dumbledore's phoenix, Fawkes, pierced the gloom with song, talons clutching the sorting hat and Gryffindor's ruby-encrusted sword. Harry plunged through the serpentine moor, sliding into the suffocating damp of the chamber's vast pillared hall, Slytherin's colossal statue leering from the murk, water pooling ankle-deep around bones of past victims. There, Riddle materialized fully, a handsome 16-year-old spectre in Slytherin robes, his dark eyes gleaming with aristocratic scorn. He summoned the Basilisk, that 50-foot serpent of armoured scales and gleaming fangs, its breath a hiss of death. Harry dodged its lunges through the flooded tunnels, the creature's gaze averted by the sword's desperate swings. Forks blinded it with beak and talons, venom dripping to corrode the phoenix's wounds, only to heal them anew. In a final clash, Harry drove the blade through the basilisk's skull, fangs piercing his arm in retaliation. The same poison that would later prove fateful. Riddle laughed as Harry weakened, but Ginny stirred freed from the diary's grasp. With his last strength, Harry plunged a basilisk fang into the diary's heart, black ink hemorrhaging like blood as Riddle shrieked into oblivion, the Horcrux destroyed. Fawkes bore them skyward on flames, Ginny trembling in Harry's arms as the castle gates loomed above. Hogwarts teetered on the brink but endured, the basilisk slain, the chamber sealed anew. Yet darker shadows gathered beyond the Dementor's icy breath. Up next in Chapter 24, the Dementor's shadow descends on Hogwarts, chilling the grounds with soul-sucking despair and secrets that could shatter alliances forever. What horror will Harry face when joy itself is stolen away, with the Chamber of Secrets sealed once more, and young Ginny Weasley saved from its clutches? Hogwarts exhaled a collective sigh of relief that summer of 1993. The petrifications reversed by mandrake potions, the basilisk slain, and the school's future secured. Life at the castle seemed poised to return to its rhythmic cadence of spells and feasts, but whispers from the wizarding world pierced the calm like a chill wind off the North Sea. Sirius Black, the most notorious prisoner of Azkaban, had vanished from his cell, the first escape in the fortress's grim history. You can almost feel the dread settling over platform 9 3/4 as students board the Hogwarts Express. Muggles nearby report a flurry of owls and popping sounds, but the real terror brews inside the train. Harry Potter, riding with his friends Ron Weasley and Hermione Granger, hears the news firsthand from the frantic witch pushing the trolley. Black, they say, is a mass murderer, a loyal Death Eater who betrayed Harry's parents to Voldemort on that fateful Halloween in 1981. 12 Muggles blown apart by a single curse, and the Potters doomed as a result. He's out for revenge, fixated on finishing what Voldemort started by hunting down the boy who lived. The Ministry of Magic, in a panic, stations over 100 Azkaban guards, those soul-sucking Dementors, around the Hogwarts grounds. Their occupation transforms the school into a fortress of fog and despair. Picture the ancient towers shrouded in unnatural mist, the Black Lake's waters unnaturally still, and every window rattling with the faint rattling breath of the guards gliding silently on the perimeter. Students arrive to a feast where Professor Dumbledore's voice carries an uncharacteristic edge, warning of the Dementor's effects. They feed on happiness, dragging forth your worst memories until you're left hollow. Fainted spells become commonplace. Even Hagrid's beloved Hippogriff Buckbeak senses the wrongness in the air. Classes resume under this pall, but the Dementor's shadow creeps into every corner. Divination with the enigmatic Professor Trelawney foretells Harry's death in tea leaves and crystal balls, a voice a smoky murmur that lingers like incense. Care of magical creatures brings Buckbeak's unfortunate clash with Draco Malfoy, leading to a trial that reeks of Slytherin influence. And then there's the new defense against the dark arts professor, Remus Lupin, a weary man with scars like faded maps across his face, his shabby robes hiding a secret as old as the Whomping Willow itself. His first lesson pits the class against a boggart, that shape-shifting embodiment of fear, and Harry's turns it into a hooded Dementor, forcing Lupin to intervene with a Patronus charm that bursts forth like liquid silver. The Quidditch season amplifies the horror. Slytherin's Nimbus 2001s, donated anonymously. Rumours swirl of Malfoy family gold. Give them an edge, but Gryffindor's match against them turns nightmarish. Dementors swarm the pitch during a storm, their presence amplifying the howls of the crowd into echoes of screams from Harry's past. He plummets from his broom, the willow branches below blurring as unconsciousness claims him. The school buzzes with fear. Black sightings multiply, his gaunt face glimpsed in the village of Hogsmeade. The Shrieking Shack his supposed haunt. Harry's map, the Marauders map gifted by the Weasley twins, reveals a rat named Scabbers behaving oddly. And Hermione's relentless class schedule, thanks to a shimmering time-turner necklace from Professor McGonagall, stretches her days into a blur of impossible lesson. As winter deepens, the castle's hearths blaze against the encroaching cold, but the Dementor's chill seeps through stone. Harry sneaks to Hogsmeade under his invisibility cloak, overhearing truths that shatter illusions. Black was his parents' best friend, godfather even, named in their will. Yet the betrayal narrative holds firm in the Daily Prophet's headlines. Lupin's lessons build Harry's resilience. He masters the Patronus under private tutelage, in a classroom alive with the scent of chocolate and expectation, his stag guardian forming in fits and starts. The climax erupts one full moon night. Ron's rat Scabbers bolts, leading Harry, Hermione, and Ron into the Willow's tunnel to the Shrieking Shack. There, cornered by Lupin and the feral Sirius Black, wild-haired, innocent-eyed despite the grime, they unravel the decade-old lie. Black never betrayed the Potters. That honour fell to Peter Pettigrew, the snivelling animagus disguised as Ron's pet rat, who framed Sirius and faked his own death amid those 12 muggles. Pettigrew's cowardice sold out James and Lily for Voldemort's favour, slipping away as Sirius took the blame. The revelation hits like a bludger. Sirius, rotting unjustly in Azkaban for 12 years, driven by Dementor-induced madness but never guilty. Lupin transforms before their eyes into a werewolf under the moon's pull, chaos reigning as Pettigrew escapes amid the fray. Hermione's time-turner becomes their salvation. That intricate hourglass device, chained around her neck, allowed her to bend the school's timeline all year, attending arithmancy and ancient runes simultaneously by looping back minutes, a secret that frayed her nerves and friendships. Now with Harry's whispered plan, they turn back 3 hours. Invisible spectators to their past selves, they orchestrate distractions, freeing Buckbeak from his execution post with the stealth of shadows, luring the werewolf away and conjuring twin Patronuses, Stag and Spectral Horse, to shield the innocent below. Sirius mounts Buckbeak, vanishing into the night sky as the timeline seals without paradox. The Dementors fooled into devouring their own illusions. Dawn breaks with exoneration incomplete, whispers of truth rippling through the staff. Dumbledore spirits Harry away for counsel, promising Sirius's eventual vindication. The Dementors lift their siege, though scars remain. Lupin's resignation whispers of werewolves in the halls. Hogwarts stands resilient, its shadows receding just enough for spring's tentative bloom. But ancient rivalries and forgotten glories stir once more, pulling the school toward an event that will test champions like never before. Up next, Chapter 25, the Triwizard Tournament revived, a spectacle of dragons, merpeople and mazes that no one saw coming. As the echoes of Sirius Black's escape faded into the summer winds, and the shocking truth of Peter Pettigrew's betrayal as the Potter's true betrayer sank in across the wizarding world, Hogwarts prepared for its 4th year with an air of cautious optimism. The Dementors had withdrawn from the grounds, their chilling fog lifting like a bad dream, but whispers of unrest lingered in the Daily Prophet's headlines. You could almost feel the castle breathing easier, its stones warmed by the first hints of autumn frost. That fragile peace shattered with a single announcement from the Ministry. Artemius Crouch Sr., stern and unyielding as ever, declared the revival of the Triwizard Tournament, a legendary competition dormant for over a century. Suspended after a champion's death in 1899, when a cockatrice strayed into the arena and petrified half the stands. The tournament had become a relic of reckless glory. Now in 1994, it was back, promising not just fame and gold, but a rare bridge between magical nations. Hogwarts would host, joined by 2 storied schools from abroad, in a display of international magical cooperation that dazzled the wizarding elite. Picture the Great Hall, buzzing that crisp October evening, candles flickering above, as Professor Dumbledore unveiled the Goblet of Fire. Carved from ancient, gnarled wood, its blue-white flames danced hypnotically, ready to judge the worthiest. An age line, drawn by Dumbledore's own wand, encircled it like a shimmering moat no one under 17 could cross. Yet entries poured in by the hundreds, scraps of parchment vanishing into the flames with whispers of ambition. Victor Crumb's name alone sparked riots in the stands at the Quidditch World Cup months earlier. And now he was coming here. Then they arrived, turning the grounds into a spectacle of magic's boundless diversity. First came Bogsbatten's Academy, gliding in on a powder blue carriage drawn by a dozen Abraxan winged horses, their golden wings catching the weak sun like molten light. Madame Maxime, towering and elegant, led her students, poised young witches and wizards in silk robes exuding French sophistication. Fleur Delacour stepped forward, her silvery hair and velar allure turning heads, a part human charm that made hearts stutter. They filled the hall with perfume and laughter, a breath of alpine elegance amid Hogwarts' sturdy hearths. Durmstrang followed in thunderous contrast, their ship bursting from the black lake like a leviathan, sails ragged against the spray. Headmaster Igor Karkaroff, fur-clad and shadowed by his past, brought a delegation of hardy northerners, their staffs sparking with raw power. Victor Crumb himself strode in, broad-shouldered and brooding, his Quidditch fame drawing gasps from every table. These visitors weren't just competitors. They embodied a fragile unity, delegations from distant lands mingling under one roof, sharing spells and stories over pumpkin juice. For a moment, the wizarding world felt whole, prejudices melting in the tournament's glow. Hogwarts students watched in awe, the air thick with excitement and envy. Gryffindors plotted midnight cheers, Slytherins sneered at the foreigners' flair, Hufflepuffs offered warm welcomes, and Ravenclaws dissected the school's histories in hushed debates. International magical cooperation shone brightest then, Bogsbatten's graceful transfigurations blending with Durmstrang's dark arts jewels, all under truce. Even the House-Elves in the kitchens expanded their menus, bubbling French onion soups alongside hearty Bulgarian stews. You could taste the alliance in every bite. Halloween night brought the champion selection, the goblet flaring brighter than a Patronus. Fleur Delacour emerged first, her name crackling out to cheers from the blue-clad Bogsbattens. Victor Crumb followed, stoic as stone, Durmstrang erupting in stomps that shook the flagstones. Cedric Diggory, Hogwarts' own Hufflepuff hero, rose next, his fair hair tasselled, the hall thundering approval. 3 names, 3 schools, perfect balance. But the flames didn't die. A 4th parchment shot out, scorched and smoking. Harry Potter, chaos erupted. Harry's scar prickled under the stairs, accusations flying like bludgers. How had he crossed the age line? Whispers of trickery spread, but the goblet's magic was binding. Harry was a champion, like it or not. Behind the scenes, unseen hands had tampered with the ancient relic. Polyjuice Potion master infiltrator in their midst, Barty Crouch Jr., disguised as the gruff Auror Mad-Eye Moody. Under that wooden leg and magical eye, he confunded the goblet, entering Harry's name to lure the boy to his master's rebirth. The tasks tested them to their limits, each more harrowing than the last. Dragons first. Hungarian horntail for Harry, its black scales glinting like obsidian, yellow eyes locking on him as he summoned his firebolt broom. Fleur faced a Welsh green. Crumb transfigured a shark to tackle his common Welsh, and Cedric blinded his Swedish short snout with a burst of fire. The crowd's roars mingled with the beast's fury, flames scorching the air, the scent of charred earth hanging heavy. Winter brought the Yule Ball, a glittering escape in the castle's transformed hall. Icicles dripped from enchanted ceilings, live fairies swirling like stars. Parvati Patil on Harry's arm, elegant in pink, Hermione, radiant and unrecognised beside Krum. Tension simmered beneath the waltzes, Ron's jealousy boiling, Slytherin's plotting whispers. But amid the violins and bubbling champagne, bonds formed across divides. A fleeting harmony before the storm. The second task plunged into the lake's icy depths, merpeople's tridents gleaming in bioluminescent gloom. Harry breathed underwater via gillyweed, his skin prickling with gills, racing to save Ron from the Grindylows' grasp. Cedric used a bubble head charm, emerging blue-lipped but triumphant. The lake's murmurs hid deeper currents, the tournament's magic stirring old magics in Hogwarts' foundations. Finally, the third task, a vast maze of towering hedges, alive with twists and traps. Ridiculous boggarts morphed into nightmares, a sphinx posed lethal riddles, blast-ended scroots exploded in acrid bursts. Cedric reached the cup first, Harry tying him in a moment of honour. They touched it together. A Triwizard Cup turned portkey, ripping them through space to a desolate graveyard. There, under a stormy sky, the Goblet of Fire's manipulation reached its dark climax. Wormtail, scrawny and treacherous, dragged Cedric's limp body aside, dead from the killing curse, eyes staring blankly at the stars. Harry, bound to a tombstone marked Thomas Riddle, watched in horror as Lord Voldemort rose from a cauldron's milky haze. Reborn, pale and serpentine, his red eyes gleaming with malice, Voldemort summoned his Death Eaters, their masks materializing from shadows. The duel ignited, wands locked in priori incantatem, golden light-weaving ghosts of the dead. Cedric's echo pleading, Bertha Jorkins, Frank Bryce, Harry's parents urging escape. Harry broke free, grabbing Cedric's body and the portkey, tumbling back to the Quidditch pitch amid screams. The truth unravelled swiftly. Moody exposed as Crouch Jr., his tongue spilling under Veritaserum. Voldemort had returned in that graveyard, his immortality clawing back from exile. Cedric Diggory's death marked the end of Hogwarts' innocence. A bright young life snuffed out, the tournament's glory stained with blood. The castle's laughter fell silent, replaced by grief's heavy veil, as the wizarding world braced for war's shadow once more. But denial gripped the ministry, silencing Dumbledore's warnings. Whispers of conspiracy swirled, and soon a new figure would descend on Hogwarts, wielding power like a whip. In the next chapter, The High Inquisitor, you'll uncover how one woman's iron rule threatened to shatter the school from within. What secrets did she bury, and at what cost? Voldemort's dark triumph in that foggy graveyard sent shockwaves through the wizarding world. But back at Hogwarts, the real storm was just brewing in the shadows of denial. The Ministry of Magic, desperate to cling to a fragile peace, flatly refused to acknowledge his return. Cornelius Fudge, the minister himself, spun tales of Harry Potter's delusions, branding him a liar and a fame-seeker. And to tighten their grip on the school, they dispatched a pink-clad enforcer straight to the castle gates. Dolores Umbridge, appointed as the first ever Hogwarts High Inquisitor, you can almost feel the chill in the Great Hall that first night she arrived. A toad-like smile plastered across her face, framed by curly hair, her voice a sickly sweet simper that dripped with false charm. Umbridge wasted no time. She began inspecting classes with a clipboard in hand, a quill scratching judgments like wounds. Defense against the dark arts, the one subject every student craved amid rising darkness, became her prime target. No more practical spells, she decreed. No wands drawn, no hexes practiced, just endless theory from her approved ministry textbook. Pages filled with cheerful platitudes about harmony between wizards and muggles, ignoring the very real threats slithering back into power. The ministry's interference deepened with her educational decrees, plastered on every wall like suffocating decrees from a tyrant's court. Decree number 22 banned all student organisations without her explicit permission. Number 23 sacked Professor Trelawney, the divination teacher, in a public humiliation that left the castle whispering in outrage. Number 24 installed Umbridge herself as defence professor. Her lessons a farce of fluttering Cornish pixies and useless platitudes. Students squirmed under her gaze, the air thick with enforced mediocrity, while outside, Death Eaters gathered strength. Whispers spread through the Gryffindor common room like smoke from a dying fire. Harry knew the truth, had seen Voldemort with his own eyes, but who would listen? Frustration boiled over in the Hog's Head pub, that dingy corner of Hogsmeade reeking of goats and stale butterbeer. Harry, cornered by pleading eyes from Ron, Hermione, and a crowd of fifth years, finally agreed. They needed real defence, not Umbridge's nonsense. Word flew through secret notes and hushed corridors. A meeting, a pact. Nearly 50 students crammed into the pub's back room, signing their names on a charmed parchment that would burn traitors alive if they betrayed the group. Dumbledore's army was born that rainy afternoon. Students taking their education into their own hands, slipping into the room of requirement, that magical chamber shifting to their needs like a living dream. Picture it. Stone walls blooming into a vast hall lined with books on curses and cushions for practicing stunning spells. Harry at the front, wand raised, demonstrating the Patronus charm, with a flick that summoned his stag through silver mist. Neville Longbottom, once clumsy, blasting dummies to splinters. Luna Lovegood floating spells with dreamy precision. Even Draco Malfoy's Slytherin rivals left out in the cold. Unaware of the rebellion growing under their noses, they drilled disarming charms until wands flew like startled birds. Practiced the reductor curse to shatter stone, laughter mixing with the crack of magic in the air. For the first time since Voldemort's shadow returned, hope flickered. Not from professors or ministries, but from wands gripped by children determined to fight. Umbridge's suspicions sharpened like a blade. Filch the caretaker prowled with renewed glee. Her inquisitorial squad, hand-picked Slytherins badged like junior Death Eaters, sniffing out dissent. Marietta Edgecomb's betrayal under Confundus Charm ink, spelling sneak across her face, led to the DA's discovery. Umbridge crowed victory, dragging Harry before the staff, demanding Dumbledore's head. But the headmaster, ever the fox, vanished in a swirl of phoenix fire, leaving the minister red-faced and raging. The castle held its breath as decrees multiplied, banning Quidditch teams, Gryffindor gatherings, even the right to wander corridors freely. Hogwarts, once a beacon, felt like a prison under her saccharine rule, the enchanted ceiling stormy even on clear nights. Tension snapped when a false vision struck Harry in the midst of occlumency lessons with Snape. Sirius Black, his godfather, tortured in the Department of Mysteries. Hermione's clever plan with fake galleons, signalling DA members, pulled them into action. Harry, Ron, Ginny, Neville and Luna slipped through the castle's hidden passages, vanishing on a thestral-drawn flight into London's night sky. The Ministry's atrium loomed empty, but the circular room of the department twisted like a labyrinth of dreams, doors leading to time sands, brains in tanks, and finally the Hall of Prophecy. Shelves towered with glowing orbs, each whispering fates unborn. Death Eaters ambushed them, Lucius Malfoy's sneer echoing as spells lit the dark. The prophecy shattered under Harry's grasp, its words lost but igniting chaos. Order of the Phoenix members apparated in, Lupin, Tonks, Moody's eye whirling, clashing wands in a frenzy of light and shadow. Sirius taunted Bellatrix through the veil, only for Hercust to send him tumbling into the whispering archway, gone forever. The battle spilled into the atrium, statues crumbling, water elementals roaring from a shattered fountain. Cornelius Fudge arrived with horrors, witnessing the impossible. Voldemort himself materializing in a snake-formed duel with Dumbledore, the castle's greatest wizard. Flames danced, water serpents coiled, the air crackling with raw power until the Dark Lord fled, his return undeniable. The wizarding world awoke to the truth at last. Headlines screaming vindication for Harry, shame for the Ministry. Umbridge's reign crumbled overnight, her pink office stripped bare, but the scars lingered, the losses, the secrets unearthed in that prophetic hall. As the dust settled, The 5th year drew to a close, deeper mysteries stirred in the potions dungeon, where a certain professor's old textbook revealed spells and secrets hinting at a shadowy figure known only as the Half-Blood Prince. What hidden past tied him to Hogwarts' darkest corners? Stay with us to uncover it all. As the echoes of Dolores Umbridge's decrees faded and Dumbledore's army disbanded under the weight of ministry scrutiny, Hogwarts braced for its 6th year in 1996, a year shadowed by whispers of war and the Dark Lord's growing army. Severus Snape, long the potions master with his sharp tongue and unyielding gaze, finally claimed the defense against the dark arts post he'd coveted for years, stepping into the role as if it were his destiny unfolding. Dumbledore himself had lured him there, confiding in the staff that the position carried a curse laid by Voldemort himself years earlier, dooming every teacher to leave within a single year. Some sacked, others fleeing curses that struck without mercy. Snape accepted with a flicker of triumph in his eyes, his sallow face tightening as he traded cauldrons for counter curses. Meanwhile, down in the dungeons, Harry Potter stumbled upon a revelation that would unravel secrets long buried. An old potions textbook, its margins crammed with meticulous notes and spells far beyond the 6th year curriculum. The cover bore no name at first, just a scrawled title inside. Property of the Half-Blood Prince, and as Harry followed its instructions, his bruise shimmered to perfection, earning rare praise from the new potions professor, Horace Slughorn. Felix Felicis, the luck potion, bubbled gold under the prince's tweaks. Draught of living death swirled like liquid night. Who was this shadowy genius? The pages hinted at brilliance laced with danger, curses like Sectum Sempra, slashes of ink promising deep, unforgiving wounds. Harry clutched that book like a talisman, its spells propelling him through Slughorn's lavish Slade Club dinners, where the old wizard collected talent like rare vintages, all while Hogwarts halls grew tense with news of disappearances and Death Eater sightings. But the true weight of the year pressed in through Dumbledore's private lessons with Harry. Held in the headmaster's office, amid whirring silver instruments and Phoenix song from Fawkes, these weren't mere classes. They were a hunt for the Horcruxes, the fractured soul shards Voldemort had hidden to cheat death. Dumbledore, his hand blackened and withered from a cursed ring he'd destroyed. One of those very Horcruxes poured memory after memory into the pensieve, silvery strands swirling like mist over a graveyard. You could almost feel the chill as they dove into young Tom Riddle's orphanage days, his cold eyes gleaming with unnatural power, charming objects to life and terrorizing peers without a wand. Then Hepzibah Smith, the foolhardy witch, who showed him Slytherin's locket and Hufflepuff's cup, only to end poisoned, her treasures vanishing into Riddle's grasp. Slughorn's memory came next, tampered but restored, Riddle pressing for the dark secret of Horcruxes, learning how to split the soul with murder, perhaps more than once for greater immortality. Each lesson peeled back Voldemort's origins. Muggle father abandoning half-blood mother Merope, who died birthing Tom in that grim London orphanage on December 31st, 1926. Harry watched it all unfold in liquid time, the headmaster's voice steady as he explained Horcrux's depravity and choring a soul's remnants in objects of significance, making the bearer nearly unkillable. They journeyed together to a seaside cave, waves crashing like thunder against jagged cliffs, where Dumbledore solved riddles carved in rock and crossed an infernal lake on a rickety boat. Inferi clawed from the depths there, rotting hands slick with water, guarding a locket that burned the skin, Salazar Slytherin's own, heavy with Voldemort's malice. Dumbledore drank the potion guarding it, convulsing in agony as visions of his dead sister Ariana tore at him. But they claimed the prize, or so they thought, a fake swapped by none other than Regulus Black. These lessons bound teacher and student closer, Dumbledore's blue eyes piercing as he warned Harry of the final Horcrux, perhaps Nagini, the snake, or something yet unseen. Hogwarts pulsed with unease meanwhile. Draco Malfoy, pale and hollow-eyed, vanishing into the 7th floor bathroom, his hand trembling over the vanishing cabinet he'd mended, linking the room of requirement to Borgin and Burke's in Nocturne Alley. Death Eaters would pour through that portal soon enough. Tension coiled tighter with each passing moon. Quidditch matches forgotten amid vanishing classmates and cursed necklaces. Draco slipped into Katie Bell's grasp, sending her screaming to Saint. Mungo's in flames of dark magic. Harry pieced together the Half-Blood Prince's identity through taunts and textbook clues. Snape, the Prince of Half-Blood lineage, his mother's side pure Slytherin. Accusations flew, oaths unbreakable, as Dumbledore and Harry pursued the locket's truth. Then came the night that shattered everything. June 30th, 1997, atop the astronomy tower. Wind howled through the battlements, stars indifferent overhead. As Dumbledore stood weakened, arm limp from the cave's toll, Harry hidden under the invisibility cloak below. Draco burst through, wand shaking, the cabinet humming behind him. His task from the Dark Lord clear: murder the headmaster or face his family's doom. The boy disarmed Dumbledore, who pleaded softly. Seeing the fear in those silver eyes, the weight of unbreakable vows sealing Draco's fate through Snape's coerced promise. Footsteps echoed up the spiral stairs, Death Eaters unleashed. And in that frozen moment, Severus Snape arrived, his black robes billowing like wings. Draco faltered, tears streaking his face, and Snape stepped forward. Avada Kedavra, green light flashing silent and final, struck Dumbledore square in the chest. He toppled from the tower, plummeting past ancient stone, body crumpling on the grounds below amid screams from Hagrid's hut. Chaos erupted as Death Eaters rampaged. Flitwick felled, sprinklers bursting into icy torrents from counter curses. Harry pursued Snape, who revealed himself with a sneer. The Half-Blood Prince indeed, his mother's maiden name Prince, spells born of rage against his father's muggle cruelty. Snape fled into the night, the school's ancient shields crumbling without Dumbledore's magic to hold them. Hogwarts' protections flickered out like dying embers, leaving the castle vulnerable, its heart pierced. In the aftermath, as students huddled, the Ministry owls wheeled overhead. The wizarding world reeled from the loss of its greatest guardian, but the story darkens further in the chapters ahead. What happens when Snape claims the headmaster's throne and a new regime grips the school in terror? That's coming up next in chapter 28. The Dark Regime, where Hogwarts falls under the shadow of the Death Eaters themselves, as the echoes of Dumbledore's final lessons with Harry faded into the night. Severus Snape fulfilled his long-hidden vow, striking down the headmaster atop the astronomy tower. In a moment that shattered the wizarding world, Snape fled into the shadows, but his triumph was swift. Within days, the Ministry, now firmly in Voldemort's grasp, named him Headmaster of Hogwarts. A castle you once knew as a beacon of wonder plunged into an era of unrelenting dread, its ancient stones whispering secrets of control under Death Eater rule. Picture the Great Hall stripped of its warmth, house tables divided not by loyalty but by fear, the enchanted ceiling mirroring a perpetual storm of bruised clouds. Snape strode the corridors like a spectre, his black robes billowing, eyes cold as the dungeons he once patrolled. No longer just potions master, he commanded from the headmaster's office, that circular sanctum once filled with Dumbledore's silver instruments and phoenix song, now silent save for the scratch of quills signing decrees that bound the school in chains. Death Eaters flooded the staff, their dark marks hidden beneath sleeves, but pulsing with authority. Alecto and Amicus Caro, brother and sister twisted by years of serving the Dark Lord, took posts as professors. Their lessons a far cry from charms or transfiguration. The air grew thick, with the scent of fierce sweet and ink from forced parchments. Students flinching at every shadow. Punishments were no longer detentions with quills that wrote in your own blood. They escalated to curses flung without mercy. The Caros revelled in it, teaching dark arts not as theory but as practice. Demanding first years wield Cruciatus on classmates who faltered. Screams echoed from classrooms once alive with laughter, bodies racked on stone floors, the metallic tang of pain lingering like a curse. Professors who resisted, like ancient portraits pleading from walls, were silenced or petrified, their frames gathering dust. Even house-elves cowered deeper in the kitchens, their pops hushed, afraid to serve more than gruel laced with propaganda praising the Dark Lord. Yet amid this suffocating regime, a spark ignited in the unlikeliest heart. Neville Longbottom, once mocked for his fumbling spells and toad-loving ways, emerged as the castle's quiet thunder, scarred by his parents' torture at Bellatrix Lestrange's hands. Neville had endured Snape's sneers and the prophecy's shadow, but now, with Harry absent on his quest, Neville stepped into the void. He rallied the remnants of Dumbledore's army in hidden corners, the Room of Requirement becoming their fortress, its walls shifting to conceal maps scrawled with sabotage plans. Ginny Weasley, fire in her veins, smuggled messages. Luna Lovegood wove illusions with her dreamy logic. Seamus Finnegan and Dean Thomas brewed explosives from stolen potion stores. Their resistance began small, graffiti blooming overnight on dungeon walls. Dumbledore's army, still recruiting, painted in glowing letters that no scrubbing charm could erase. They disrupted Carrow lessons, hexing wands mid-curse, freeing classmates from chains. Neville led charges into the Forbidden Forest for guerrilla training, dodging patrols under moonlight that silvered the Thestral's bones. Punishments fell hard. Neville bore the Cruciatus repeatedly, his body convulsing on the floor while Alecto laughed. But he rose each time, face set like the founder whose sword he'd once claimed. Whispers spread through the greenhouses, where Professor Sprout smuggled mandrakes for stunning foes, her dirt-streaked hands passing mandrake leaf to chew for disguises. The castle pulsed with this underground pulse, portraits smuggling intelligence, Peeves the poltergeist cackling diversions with fireworks that mimicked phoenix cries. Deeper still, amid the regime's iron grip, a desperate hunt unfolded within the castle's very walls. The search for the final Horcrux, Ravenclaw's lost diadem, hidden for centuries in the labyrinthine folds of the Room of Requirement. Whispers among the resistors hinted at it, pieced from Harry's relayed clues through Patronus messages and smuggled notes. Neville's group scoured forgotten alcoves, their wands tracing runes on dusty tiaras and crowns, unearthed from piles of lost things. Chairs stacked to the ceiling, vanished homework fluttering like ghosts. The room adapted mockingly, revealing hordes of confiscated wands and firebolts. But the diadem eluded them, its cursed gleam buried under layers of forgotten student debris. Tension mounted as Death Eater patrols intensified, sensing the hornet's nest buzzing beneath their boots. One wrong step, and the fragile quest could unleash Voldemort's fury on the entire school. Students adapted in shadows, meals eaten in huddled groups where stories of Harry's survival fueled hope. The Slytherin table thinning as some defected under duress. Snape himself prowled the battlements at night, his silhouette sharp against the moon. Torn between his triple agent oaths, loyal to Dumbledore's memory, yet playing the tyrant to protect the greater plan. Carrow interrogations grew brutal, forcing confessions with Imperius-laced Veritaserum, but Neville's leadership held, turning torture into testimony. Each scream forged stronger bonds. The Gryffindor common room, a warren of healing salves brewed from stolen fluxweed. The regime tightened like a noose. Muggle-born students hunted and expelled, their trunks rifled for contraband. The lake's merpeople watching warily from depths stirred by giant squids' unrest. Resistance escalated, greenhouse raids yielding venomous tentacular whips to lash back at enforcers. The Whomping Willow recruited as a living barricade during midnight skirmishes. Neville stood atop the Gryffindor table one tense evening, rallying with a voice honed by pain. No surrender, no silence until the castle breathed free again. The air hummed with unspoken prophecies, the Sorting Hat's brim drooping in silent vigil from its shelf, remembering the day it begged for unity. As these flames of defiance licked higher, threatening to engulf the Dark Lord's hold, the inevitable clash loomed on the horizon. In Chapter 29, The Battle of Hogwarts, you'll witness the castle erupt in chaos like never before. Students, ghosts, and ancient magics colliding in a storm that would decide Wizard Keen's fate forever. What hidden protections would awaken? And who would pay the ultimate price? Stay with me as we charge into that thunderous night. Neville Longbottom's quiet defiance had ignited a spark that now threatened to consume the entire castle. With Snape's regime crumbling under the weight of student uprisings and whispers of approaching reinforcements, the air inside her Hogwarts thickened with dread. Students barricaded doors with toppled suits of armour, professors transfigured desks into ramparts, and House-Elves scurried through hidden passages, their ears flapping like sails in a storm. Outside, the forbidden forest rustled unnaturally, shadows lengthening as dark forces gathered on the horizon. On May 2nd, 1998, the ultimate siege of the castle by the Death Eater army shattered the fragile calm. Voldemort himself had issued the ultimatum at dusk. Harry Potter must surrender by midnight, or Hogwarts would fall to ruin. Hagrid's massive form lumbered through the gates first, bound and sobbing, carrying what appeared to be Harry's lifeless body, a cruel deception to break the defenders' spirits. But cries of anguish turned to roars of fury as spells lit the night sky like fireworks gone feral. Crimson jets streaked from wands, exploding against ancient stone walls that groaned but held firm. Giants hurled boulders the size of carriages, splintering towers and sending shards of gargoyle raining down. Acromantulas poured from the forest's edge, their chitinous legs skittering over dew-slick grass, only to meet walls of flame conjured by brave souls like Professor McGonagall, her tartan robes billowing as she barked orders with the ferocity of a lioness. Inside the corridors, chaos reigned in a symphony of shattering glass and thunderous booms. Percy Weasley reconciled with his family amid the melee, dueling Death Eaters shoulder to shoulder with his brothers. Ginny Weasley fought like a whirlwind, her bat-bogey hexes turning enemies into grotesque, stumbling messes. The air reeked of scorched wood, ozone from deflected curses, and the metallic tang of blood. Students as young as first years clutched wands they'd barely learned to use, their faces pale but set, defending staircases that twisted and shifted under their feet. Firenze and the Centaurs charged into the fray from the grounds, hooves pounding earth, arrows whistling through the dark. Even the merpeople thrashed in the Black Lake, dragging any who dared approach the water's edge into murky depths. Amid this maelstrom, sacrifices mounted, each one a dagger to the heart of the resistance. Severus Snape fled to the boathouse under Voldemort's orders, only to meet his end there, Nagini's fangs sinking into his neck on the Dark Lord's command, spilling memories like ink from a broken quill. Those silvery strands revealed truths long buried. Snape's undying love for Lily Potter, his double-agent loyalty to Dumbledore, the unbreakable vow that had sealed his path. Fred Weasley, ever the Joker, perished in a corridor explosion, his laughter silenced forever as rubble claimed him beside Percy, who cradled his brother's broken form amid the dust. Up in the castle's upper reaches, Remus Lupin and Nymphadora Tonks fell together, cut down by Death Eaters in a desperate defense of the helpless, their bodies entwined as if even in death they refused to be parted. These losses, the sacrifice of the many, rippled through the fighters like a chilling wind, dealing their resolve even as grief clawed at their souls. Fred's twin George howled his pain to the heavens, vowing vengeance. Molly Weasley, her eyes blazing, comforted the orphan Teddy Lupin in her thoughts, while hurling hexes that felled giants. Harry, meanwhile, had slipped unnoticed into the Room of Requirement, confronting the diadem Horcrux, amid Fiendfire's roaring inferno unleashed by Crabbe's reckless ambition. He emerged singed but unbroken, the final piece of Voldemort's soul destroyed. Rallying with Ron and Hermione, he broadcast the shattering truth to every defender. He himself was the last Horcrux, a fragment of the Dark Lord's soul lodged in his scar since that fateful night in Godric's Hollow. Gasps echoed through the castle, but there was no time for doubt. Harry walked into the Forbidden Forest, offering himself to Voldemort's wand under the stars, the killing curse striking him down once more. Yet love's ancient magic shielded his core, allowing him to return unseen as the battle raged on. The tide turned as reinforcements flooded in, Order members apparating past protective enchantments, Thestrals swooping low with warriors aboard, even Muggle-born's families joining the fray. Voldemort, sensing victory slipping, unleashed his forces in a final push toward the castle's heart. Defenders retreated to the Great Hall, its enchanted ceiling swirling with storm clouds that mirrored the turmoil below. Long tables lay splintered, house banners torn and bloodied, the air humming with residual magic. There, amid the wounded and the weary, the final showdown unfolded. Harry Potter versus Lord Voldemort. Harry stepped forward, his voice steady despite the weight of 1,000 eyes. The Elder Wand, wrested from Dumbledore's tomb and now in Voldemort's grasp, refused its false master. Harry's disarming spell met the killing curse in a blaze of white light, the deathly green rebounding like a serpent turned on its charmer. Voldemort crumpled, his body dissolving into ash, the Horcrux's curse broken at last. Cheers erupted, mingled with sobs as dawn crept over the scarred grounds. Hogwarts stood, battered but unbowed, its halls echoing with the ghosts of those who'd given everything. As the dust settled on that fateful night, the wizarding world began to rebuild from the ashes of war. Pondering what shape its future would take, join me next for Chapter 30, the modern era and legacy, where we'll uncover how Hogwarts evolved in peacetime, the secrets of its post-battle restoration, and whispers of threats that linger even today. You won't want to miss the hidden reforms that redefined magic forever. As the echoes of spells faded and the Great Hall fell silent on that fateful May 2nd, 1998, Hogwarts stood battered but unbroken, its ancient stones scarred by fire and curse alike. Voldemort lay defeated, his body crumbling to ash under the weight of his own hubris. The Elder Wand's allegiance finally turning against him, yet victory came at a price etched into every survivor's heart. The bodies of Fred Weasley, Remus Lupin, Nymphadora Tonks, Severus Snape, and so many others lay still amid the rubble, their sacrifices the true foundation of the peace that followed. In the weeks that stretched into months, the wizarding world turned its gaze back to the castle. Reconstruction began not with grand spells alone, but with hands, calloused from battle, trembling from grief, lifting fallen beams and mending shattered arches. Minerva McGonagall, now headmistress, led the effort with unyielding resolve, her wand tracing precise reparos over the collapsed astronomy tower, while House-Elves darted through the shadows, banishing debris with quiet pops. The air hummed with the scent of fresh mortar mixed by enchantment and the faint ozone of healing charms sealing cracks in the walls. Gargoyles atop the ramparts were repositioned, one by one, their stone eyes watching over the workers as if reclaiming their vigil. Flow networks brought supplies from Hogsmeade, and owls delivered enchanted timber from the Forbidden Forest's edges, grown anew under careful arborous charms to replace what flames had devoured. The castle's heart, the Great Hall, demanded the deepest care. Its enchanted ceiling, once a mirror of stormy skies, had shattered under Fiendfy's rage. Now, house ghosts glided through scaffolds, whispering guidance to the living. Nearly headless Nick offered spectral blueprints from centuries past, while the fat friar hummed calming ditties to soothe the exhausted crews. By autumn the hall gleamed again, its tables polished to a warm sheen, but no one rushed the final touches. Every repaired flagstone held a story, a jewel won, a shield raised, a life lost. Honouring the fallen became the soul of this rebirth. A memorial garden bloomed where the Quidditch pitch had scorched, its paths winding through hedges, shaped like phoenixes rising from embers. At its centre stood a towering obelisk of white marble, veined with silver that glowed under moonlight, inscribed with the names of every soul who perished that night. Fred Weasley's etching bore a carved grin, flanked by prankster runes that occasionally sparked with harmless fireworks on anniversaries. Remus and Tonks shared a panel with their son, Harry's blessing, a crescent moon cradling a snarling wolf. Snape's name anchored the base. Sim Stark, his legacy whispered in the potion-scented breezes that stirred the garden's wolfsbane blooms. Annual vigils drew alumni from across the world, candles floating in tribute as McGonagall recounted their valour, her voice steady against the wind. These weren't mere monuments, they were promises, etched in stone and spell, that no hero would fade into shadow. From these ashes, Hogwarts didn't just rebuild, it evolved. The house system, once a cradle for rivalries that Slytherin had twisted into division, underwent quiet reforms put to guard against the radicalisation that had poisoned generations. McGonagall, drawing from the battle's hard lessons, instituted cross-house collaborations from first year onward. No longer siloed by common room loyalties, students rotated dormitories every term, fostering bonds that blurred the old lines. Gryffindors sharing late-night strategy sessions with Slytherins, Ravenclaws debating ethics over Hufflepuff feasts. The Sorting Hat itself adapted, its song now weaving verses of unity, cautioning against the pure-blood supremacy that had fueled Voldemort's rise. Houses divide to conquer fear. It would rhyme, but together true magic appears. Prefects from all quarters patrolled as mixed teams, enforcing not just rules but dialogues. Mandatory gatherings where grievances aired before grudges festered. Quidditch matches persisted, their cheers fiercer for the unity beneath. But new events emerged. The Unity Cup, a relay of challenges blending spells from each founder's lore, where victory demanded every house's strength. Elective clubs delved into Muggle wizard histories, dissecting the prejudices that birthed Dark Lords, with guest speakers like Hermione Granger-Weasley lecturing on equality statutes. Radical whispers found no fertile ground. The castle's very wards, retuned by Dumbledore's portrait, hummed with detection charms for hate speech, gently redirecting the lost toward counsel. Slowly, subtly, the system that had mirrored society's fractures became its healer, ensuring the venom of division drained away. 19 years slipped by like pages in a well-worn grimoire, the wizarding world healing under a fragile dawn. Hogwarts thrived, its corridors alive with laughter unscarred by war, its legacy a beacon drawing the next generation to platform 9 3/4. On a crisp September morning in 2017, the Scarlet Hogwarts Express puffed steam into the London air. Its whistle a call to adventure as familiar as heartbeat. There stood Harry Potter, older now, greying at the temples, his scar a faint lightning bolt under tousled hair, guiding his children toward the barrier. James Sirius bounded ahead, all Gryffindor fire, already boasting of chaser tryouts. Lily Luna clung to her mother's skirts, dreaming of her turn, but it was Albus Severus who hesitated, green eyes wide with the weight of a name carrying ghosts, bravery and cunning intertwined, a bridge between old divides. Nearby, Ron Weasley clapped Draco Malfoy on the back, the once rivals now allies in parenthood, their sons Rose Granger Weasley and Scorpius Malfoy, chattering about spells and sweets. "Don't worry, Al," Harry murmured, kneeling to meet his son's gaze. "The Sorting Hat will place you where you belong." As trunks thumped aboard and whistles blew, the train lurched forward, vanishing into Magic's Veil. Inside, new faces pressed to windows, friendships sparking across house guesses, the Sorting Hat waiting in the Great Hall to weave its song once more. And so the cycle turns anew, not as echo of past shadows, but as promise of light unbroken. Hogwarts endures, its secrets guarded, its magic forever young. What did you think of this journey? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If this changed your perspective or taught you something new, consider subscribing for more mind-expanding content. And if you know someone who would find this as fascinating as you did, share it with them. These are the kind of conversations that matter.